Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over. Danced to it.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Matt and Josh, welcome to the Thunderdome.
Whoa, Thunderdome.
Yep,
When did this become the Thunderdome?
just now.
Did you have a hot and heavy show?
Not at all.
Okay. Okay. I was hoping you'd say yes. I feel like that would be a
We're
Not
talking
even a
about
little bit.
bottomless concession
Yeah,
seats in Busch Stadium.
we talked about Joey's tweets.
Well, if I had to watch that excuse of a baseball team every single
Great take.
day, I would need bottomless
You're
concessions.
not going to find any pro St. Louis people here.
No, absolutely not. That place sucks. Terrible.
No,
city.
I did.
Best fans in the game, though.
I
No,
wouldn't
they're
mind
not.
being sent to see if these seats are any good, and then I can report back to the people.
I would like to go watch a game at that ballpark again, as I have
the park
before.
was
that,
fine.
that place
Yeah.
sucks.
I don't want to spend a lot of time in that city, as has been noted on this show multiple times.
Unless it's Arch Madness.
No,
The
oh,
Missouri
let's
Valley
watch
Tournament.
Nebraska win in the first two rounds
That
of the
Booker
NCAA
Wood
tournament.
Fox.
That city smells like piss.
Mm.
Mm.
Just smells like pee.
So what's that make Chicago smell like?
Or
Flowers.
New Orleans.
Chicago smells like flowers.
Compared.
And St. Louis smells like pee.
Yes.
That
Interesting.
seems like a very
I don't think that's
specific
right.
point of view.
I don't think that's right. How
St.
was your
Louis.
how was your cage match?
Well, it would have been great if the cage was ever closed. They just
Oh.
allow anybody to just walk through the cage
That's
nowadays.
how they do it now.
It's so dumb.
It's more exciting.
They've watered down that match so much.
Wait, so you
used
can't leave the cage, but the cage is open?
so
People can come in.
What's the point of the cage?
thank you, Connor. Thank you. That's what I was asking myself. I'm like, why is the cage here? If anybody could just walk through the door
They
and
should
mess
have
up the match.
They should have a door on the top of the cage, drop the people into the cage, and then close the cage.
Well, what they have
have
to
welders
do,
come out and seal the
Yeah.
cage.
you are truly trapped.
what they have to do is when the person gets eliminated, they walk out of the cage.
No, they have to stay in there. They have
Because they have to rot.
dead bodies just strewn
So they
everywhere.
walk out the cage, but I think they're like, well, the semantics of it's a big door, so it takes long to close, and so in that long time to close the door, somebody can walk into the ring and like mess things up.
So
But
anyone could walk in.
exactly, it makes no sense.
So wow, yeah, that is weird.
And
I
so
agree with you.
The
Great
whole
take.
the whole time it was just like, all right, like somebody would get eliminated, and then somebody else who wasn't involved in the match whatsoever would just walk through the door and mess up the match. And I'm like, isn't the point of the cage so you find out who the best wrestler is, and that cage stops people from coming in? That's the point.
Yeah.
Well, I
So
thought the
dumb.
point was just an element and add an element of brutality. to the
You know,
whole
back in
thing.
my day,
The chain links really do it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can make the cage a different,
Barbed wire.
material. Yeah.
well, that would just be
They've
hell
done
in a
it.
cell.
Oh, what? Well, what's the difference?
Oh, let me tell you.
Well,
Okay, so I got three things. Whatever this was,
elimination.
Hell in
chamber.
a Cell,
Hell in a cell.
and the Royal Rumble. They all seem like combinations of each other.
They're not.
Very different.
Okay.
I mean, actually,
Is it the
Connor's
Elimination
not
Chamber
wrong.
just
Connor's-
Royal Rumble with a cage?
They're very
okay,
different.
not really. So here's the thing. So
How's it different?
So Connor is kind of right where the elimination chamber combines like the steel cage aspect of Hell in a Cell, but in Hell in a Cell you don't have multiple people and you don't have a clock. In elimination chamber you have multiple people and you have a clock.
Multiple
and-
people and a clock.
And in the Royal Rumble,
That's why you're singing
There's a
about-
Yeah.
three-part Venn
there
diagram.
there really
I
is.
need a big clock.
Yeah, there are three circles: steel cage,
He wants us to be an
multiple
elimination
people,
chamber.
and clock. Right?
All right.
And so each one
Royal
kind of
Rumble
shares.
doesn't have a cage,
Yeah.
but it does have a clock.
It does have a
Yes.
clock and
Yeah.
multiple people. And Hell in a Cell doesn't have multiple people or
It
a clock,
could.
but it has a cage.
but it has a cage. It can have multiple people in some regards. The Elimination Chamber
There seems like there's no rules at
has
all.
a clock, has multiple people, and has a cage.
Welcome.
People are walking into the cage without clocks.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
ridiculous.
But that's
An event
Hell in
that
a
is
Cell.
written for its finish does not have rules. You have stumbled upon the idea.
Is there any other wrestling pay-per-view events that could be thrown into this Venn diagram? cages.
What
clocks.
would the Punjabi prison match be thrown
They
in?
don't
there?
really
Sounds
use
bad.
it anymore.
Yeah, I
though.
know.
You don't have that guy anymore.
Gender. Don't hinder on gender.
Great Khali.
No, I was thinking of him.
Is there any
I would like
other
Connor to be
events?
introduced to the concept of the Money in the Bank match?
Oh my God.
What's that one?
So the Money in the Bank match is basically they have this big briefcase, okay? And they hang it from the rafters. It's about a good, 50 feet in the air. I mean, it's like 25,
I would say
30,
25.
25 feet in the air, right? And you have 6 guys, typically 6 men or women in a match. And their goal is to knock everybody out, set up a ladder, climb up the ladder, and grab the briefcase, right? Unhook it, okay?
Easy.
And
I know how to win.
when you unhook the Money in the Bank briefcase, that briefcase gives you the opportunity to have a world championship match anytime, any place.
Oh, it turns
Okay.
into Deal or No Deal?
No, not
Very
deal or no
much
deal.
deal
Yeah.
or no deal.
There's a contract.
That's awesome. Where's
There's-
Howie Mandel, the baker?
But there's never a no deal. It's just
A
deal.
deal.
Yeah.
Just deal. Yeah, you never say no. to
Is
the
there a
deal.
hot chick holding the briefcase?
When the women's
If they
match,
win,
like
then perhaps,
yeah,
you know.
there's a women's Money in the Bank match.
All right.
Like Tiffany Stratton was the Money in the Bank winner. I would consider that a beautiful woman with
Okay.
the briefcase.
She sounds lovely.
Yeah, it's Tiffy time. So you typically the champion gets really battered up and bruised, right? Like they're knocked out, but they won their match. So you run in, and while they're passed out, you cash in your Money in the Bank briefcase. You go, I want to cash it in. I want to cash in my opportunity. And then they ring the bell, and you're in a championship match, and you just have to you're fresh, and the other person is all banged up, and you just pin them and you win. So you can steal.
You win the money
championship.
and the match?
No. You win the title. You're
Okay.
going for a title.
There's no actual money.
There's
There's
no
nothing
money.
in the briefcase except for an opportunity.
Yes.
That's stupid. There needs to be money. It needs to be deal or no deal. They put money or a match.
Basically, this is the best way to describe this is if in the middle of the college basketball season, we had a tournament and a team won that tournament and they get to cash in at any point their opportunity to play for the national championship.
Yeah. That is pretty
And so
similar.
basically,
like if the NBA
whoever
Cup
wins
winner,
the players,
if the
era
NBA
could-
Cup winner had at any point could play a team for their playoff spot during the playoffs, even. So let's say the Thunder went into double overtime and it was a really long, they were all banged up and bruised. And then, by God, the Hornets are here. The Hornets are here. They're gonna cash in. They're gonna take the Thunder spot.
I heard Bruce Pearl is going to make Miami of Ohio do this to
Yeah.
get entered
Yeah.
into the tournament.
They got to win. They got it. The whole Miami of Ohio
qualifying
team.
match is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Right.
Well, according to Bruce Pearl, they need to qualify to be in Money in the Bank. They need to win a match, and then they can maybe win the briefcase. So that's what. Do you know tables, ladders, and chairs?
I know what those things are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now imagine all of them being used in a match.
Tables.
Devon?
How do they get used?
They just slam them through it.
So
Yeah, people go through it.
People go through them.
do they still do the
All
thing
of
where they
them.
hide them all underneath the ring?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
That's
they could, so they could just grab
But-
a bunch
All
of
but-
sorts of weird stuff
Yeah.
under there. Sometimes maybe a person.
yeah.
But TLC is a little different because the point is that the tables and ladders and chairs are already pulled out for your accessibility.
Oh,
You don't have
there's just
to.
a big pile of
There's
them.
yeah. It's like
Effectively.
it's like it's like
And you
after
get to use as many as you want.
it's like after a Catholic grade school play, like all the chairs are in a pile.
Do you have to be a table or chair or ladder guy, or can you use all?
Some people
interchangeably?
some people specialize in tables and some people
The match
specialize
was
in
created
ladders.
because these specific tag teams had something they were known for. 2 of them ladders, 2 of them tables.
And one of them chairs.
Well, tables is the worst weapon by
well,
far.
you're well. Don't tell the Dudley boys that.
Takes
I
a
think
while
they would
to set up.
Yeah,
right?
Well, you got to set it up and are you hitting people with it? Not very much. And what's the point of really slamming people through it?
it's cool. It's so cool.
Yeah, but that
It's
doesn't
so
hurt
dope.
them.
I one time saw Christian put a table on top of Kenny
Depends on
Omega.
how many tables.
And then-
they might stack 4 of them up, put them through that
Mhm.
many.
Then you're
tables.
not going. Are you going through that many tables?
Yes.
Does it hurt more if there's 4 tables
It-
compared to
Imagine
one?
That's
So-
a lot of chances to get stabbed by the wood as you go
Mhm.
through.
Yeah.
That's true.
It hurts less though than just slamming onto the concrete though.
That's
I mean,
kind of what
It
I
breaks
thought.
your fall.
That's
Yeah.
kind of that's kind of
The
what
tables are there to kind of
I right. So the tables are dumb. Like I would be a chairs guy
The-
probably.
The unintentional hilarity of all of this, though, is that there will be some point where someone can't set up the table
This is
or the
true.
ladder
This is
how
true.
they want. So the camera will pan away from it, and you know that there's an official whose end job it is to make sure that this is safe enough
Good.
that they can go to their spot.
Yeah.
And then everything will get built around, we got to get back over to this ladder that's set up in this one spot over here because it's got to be used.
Interesting.
It's great.
Is that what happens in the deal or no deal match too?
The deal or no deal match, typically, like, you know, when it's coming to an end and somebody will get knocked out like 5 minutes before it comes to an end. And that person who got knocked out will probably end up winning. They kind of like rest up and they roll away, and then all of a sudden they climb up the ladder to grab it.
Is there a definitive one person left before they climb the ladder, or is it just a race to climb the ladder?
It's a race.
Yeah, but there's a little like there's
But you
theaters.
know who's going to get to climb the ladder before they climb the
They
ladder.
will all have a almost
moment.
got it moment.
Okay.
Before
And then there will be
someone does.
one guy who really like you're like, oh my God, he's gonna get it. And then he gets pulled down.
I get worried about people when they fall off ladders.
And they're incredibly slow climbing these.
They
ladders.
are.
Dude, we had we had a group at the women's game on Saturday.
And they fell off a ladder.
Well, it was, you remember Amazing Slottick, where he would go on top of
Yes.
chairs?
Yeah.
That guy's horrifying.
Wouldn't he bring his kid, or
so
is
they
that
have
another
a new
guy?
version of this where it's a guy and a girl, and the guy has got a big pole, and the lady sits on top of the pole, and
All of this sounds like you can't talk about it on air.
it's real. A big,
She's
tall
sitting on a
pole.
pole.
She's
She's sitting on his
a
pole
very
at the game.
large metal pole,
In front of
and-
an audience?
It really?
and she's
They-
doing.
They don't
I
have to
gotta
pay
show you
anything to see this.
All right, I gotta show you this video, guys. I mean, this is gonna blow your guys' minds.
Black Cat
you-
goes, lucky guy. I know, for a living, he has women sit on his pole.
Look at this. He's got. Check this out, Matt. What are you seeing? Right
He's
now?
got a big pole.
How tall is that pole?
That is like a good 10 yards.
And what's that lady doing on top of that pole?
She's just on the pole.
Yeah. Go to the next video after that. You see what happens after that too.
I barely can see her. Oh, okay. She's
Do
stepping
you have
up.
to verify your age to see the next
Go to the
video?
next video. Go to the next video.
Wow, the PBA scoreboard looks great.
Go to that.
Please
Really
click on
quick.
all of the
Oh my
street lights in this
Oh my
photo.
God. Oh my God.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Look at this. He's swinging her on the pole. She's like a ball and chain. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
She's
This
like
is you guys made fun of me, but this is
she's
great.
this is a ridiculous sight
All right.
to behold.
All right, here we go. I'll
And
put it on the. I'll put it on the screen.
Put it on the screen.
Check this
Oh
out,
my
guys.
God.
I'd like to see this.
Oh my God. Look at
Whoa.
that woman.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's like a
How's
wrecking ball.
How's she connected to that?
Dude, she's
on a rope.
she's got a strong mouth.
She's got a rope around her neck and she's swinging
That
by her head.
Can't be safe.
It's absolutely not. It's terrifying.
By the way, how do you find out you can do that?
Mhm.
Great question.
How do you be like, you know what a talent of mine is?
Well, you see 14 people set out to do it, and only one remains.
So I get
Oh,
worried about
yeah.
people with poles and ladders. You know,
Mhm.
I'm just imagining that woman on a date being like, you know, what do you do for a living? Well, you wouldn't believe it. But what
Well,
I do is I
I'm
get
a
a
pole
I-
dancer.
I would assume they
actually a pole-
decided
I'm a
together.
pole swinger.
I assume they decided together.
Do you think he
That
came?
they-
He goes, if I have a proposition,
Yeah.
I'm really good at holding this pole. Okay.
But he
And
can hold
I-
it on top of his head.
And looking at you, you got
He
it.
had the pole on his head.
No,
You got it. You got a good neck. You got a really good neck. What if we tied a rope
Or we
around
just
your neck?
flung you around for a little while.
Yeah. Do you think they were
Hello,
good
police?
at things like this, or do you think they got good at this?
I can't imagine being bad at that.
Yeah.
They had to have some sort of
Base
skill
skill.
baseline, yeah, and then decided
A
I
base-
think we could profit off of this big time.
You know how there's like a clown college? Is there like a halftime act college where you can go to
That
like
is a great
work
question.
Red Panda
on your
University.
skills?
Great question.
You know, like instead of
RPU.
Dan Patrick and Full Sail University, it's
Uh-huh.
you know
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
for halftime.
Yeah. Red Panda University. Full swing university.
as a Red Panda one-time apprentice, I would support the usage of this school. That way, you wouldn't have rando dudes like me throwing her bowls and worried about if she was going to fall off her tall ass unicycle. I was terrified. I
Yeah.
thought I was going to kill her.
Do you know what you're doing? Yeah, I got my degree at RPU.
Yeah, I'm Red Panda University. Me and Steve Max, the Simon Says guy.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. He's got a
amazing
grad.
Slottick,
Well, that's actually a graduate program.
the KC Disc Dogs.
What did
We're
you-
all there.
What did you major in? Simon says.
That guy rocks.
That
I love
guy's
Steve
so good.
Max. Love Steve Max.
Okay, I have a topic today. I thought of it.
Wow.
Topic alert.
Driving on Dodge today, which I very much have a love-hate relationship with Dodge. I think it's necessary. I think it's somewhat creative. I also think it's stupid that when I'm driving I'm driving west, I can't go to any of the places on the left, and when I'm driving east, I can't go any places on the like. It's just dumb. So I was thinking, I was like, I pass by this Brugger's Bagels every single day,
40th.
and I'd love to have a bagel, and like a bagel sandwich or grab a coffee there. But the problem,
they're probably closed.
but
They closed randomly at random times.
Are they like end
They're
zone?
like, everything's broken. It doesn't work anymore. This place is closed.
But the problem is
They're
that
an observation of a made-up holiday that they only know about.
Yep.
on my way to Brugger's Bagels, though, when I pass it, it's on the left on my way to work. And there's just I'm not going to pull into the Jimmy John's, take a U-turn, go down. I'm not going to do that for Brugger's Bagels. That's not going to happen. And I was thinking, I was like, man, it would be great
A matching Brugger's
if there
on
was
the right side.
if Brugger's was on the right
Symmetrical
side,
streets.
right? If there
Double
was,
Brugger's.
I'm not thinking of a double Brugger's. I'm thinking of this question: Is there a place that when you're going in that certain direction on Dodge that's on the left that you would like to pick up and move to the right?
Yeah, famously, when you're traveling from west to east,
Okay.
there's almost no gas stations.
Yes,
on the right.
Great point.
They're
Until you
all
get to
on the other
until you get to Casey's,
But
which is
that's on the north side of the road, so
Yeah.
it's a left at a light.
oh yeah,
which
yeah.
at least that's at a light.
at a light.
You know, but still, you got to make the left in and then the left to get back out and continue east.
So you're going east to west. You're right. There's only that
No,
weird
west to
west to east. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's going to be the first business in Omaha to go you know what? They're going to laugh at us for having a building right across the street from another one of our buildings, but we're going to do it.
We're going to double up.
Okay, so this is a
Could
great
they
idea.
connect it with a pedestrian skybridge?
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah.
So they did that. They do this at like turnpike truck stops, like exits. They don't
Yeah.
have actual exits to get to places. They just have little rest stop areas, and they'll put like the same exact rest stop area on the other side
Yep.
of the road, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's great. You know what to expect. I think it's an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept.
Of doubling up on Dodge.
Yeah.
The double up on Dodge.
You go north side McDonald's,
The
south
dud,
side
if you
McDonald's,
will.
connected by the McDonald's play place in the sky
Wow.
over
Oh
Dodge.
my God.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Just need another big bridge project.
That's
Just what Omaha needs.
and hopefully that one
Let's
won't
shut
be
down Dodge
Yep.
so we can have the double McDonald's with the big
we
sky
already shut
place.
down Pacific. We already shut down Farnham. Let's shut down Dodge.
hopefully that bridge project on Dodge that connects to McDonald's isn't as useless as the initial bridge project that goes over the highway.
Which did you talk about the streetcar deal?
No, I'm talking about the bridge that connects the Atlas to Creighton.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
a useless bridge.
Well, what about students?
There's not that many that are going back.
We don't need to be shutting down roads.
Wasn't that
for
bridge?
students.
Wasn't that bridge initially built for the hospital? Right. It was when that place was a hospital.
I have no idea why.
This is not a thing that I would have any knowledge of.
Okay. When I was told that bridge
It's a
that
giant
connects
bridge.
the Atlas to Creighton, it was built at the time when that was St. Joseph's Hospital.
Probably.
And that bridge was built because so that way you can have people, doctors on Creighton's campus just walk on the bridge into the hospital and they can
the
be
Doctor Expressway.
Exactly. That's why they made it. Or they could have students or people who like just walk down the bridge and like it was a connector between the
Yeah, that feels right.
yeah. And then now St. Joe's no longer there, and now it's just an apartment building where a fraction of Creighton students live.
What are you gonna do? Delete the bridge?
No,
What's-
I'm just saying the bridge is kind of useless. I mean, it's just not as useful as we
We
thought
have plenty
it
of
was.
useless bridge. You ever see the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge? What does that do?
I've never.
Takes you from nowhere to nowhere.
Isn't there there's a baby
Nebraska to
Bob.
Iowa.
yeah,
And
but
you don't want to be in either place.
No.
Or in the middle. You don't want to be here.
no, you don't. Not at all. What about the baby Bob, which just takes you to the already useless bridge? A bridge to the bridge. Bridge that lead to other bridges. So, I mean, we got a lot of useless bridges out there. I feel like if we connected a McDonald's to a McDonald's, that might be the most useful
bridge,
in
yeah.
Omaha, with the exception of the Dodge
Why would you-
Expressway.
Would you
Why-
make the bridge look like you made it out of French fries?
Yes, yes, you would.
Connect
Make it look
across?
like the bridge in Council Bluffs that they affectionately refer to as Edward Bridger hands, but
Yeah.
instead of yellow knives, they're yellow French fries.
French fries.
Yeah, I like
Excellent idea. That bridge is so weird.
That's how useless all the other bridges are. That the bridge that connects the same place to the same place would be the most useful bridge.
Well, we just had to delete 2 bridges to put on train tracks for a useless streetcar. So useless bridges.
And I
useless-
couldn't exit. I couldn't exit anywhere
No.
for a whole 5 months.
No, you can't.
I had to go on Coming.
You can't
I
go.
don't want to go on Coming.
You can't go anywhere downtown. I was very,
That's
very
a drop.
worried making my travel from Lincoln to Omaha, both arenas, and I had to do it in very, very short order.
Yeah, how did that go? You never said.
I made it on time.
You awarded yourself man of the weekend the last time you had attempted this.
Honestly, I deserve it more this time because the game was a half hour
If
earlier.
you hadn't been called out by that texter a few weeks ago about how you just declare yourself man of the weekend a lot.
I came up with a better one because the guy threw 106 miles an hour.
Allegedly.
That was just my placeholder. But yeah, I was double, triple worried because the women's game started at 1 and it was senior day.
Oh wow!
So I just baked in as like, I'm not getting out of there till 3:30, and the Creighton game started at 4:30. And I'm like, this is gonna be trouble with the traffic.
And you made it.
And I made it because I got out of there. The senior day at Nebraska went in short order, and the game had too many fouls, but generally ended up
It was quick. It was a blowout.
in appropriate enough time. Yeah, but there was a 30-second stretch where the player for Rutgers got 2 flagrant ones.
Oh my god! And
For-
they had to review them both.
Had to review them both, but they're doing this thing now where they do the reviews. They just trigger media timeouts when they go to reviews now, which is actually great. For
I've heard broadcasts get confused on air
Yes.
about what timeout they're in because
It is
earlier
confusing.
they had a review.
like they took the under 5 third quarter timeout at like 5:15 in this game just because they felt like it, which is great, honestly, because it saves a bunch of time. But yeah, she got 2 flagrant ones and got kicked out in the span of 30 seconds because she like just hit people in the face
Nice.
accidentally. I think
Yeah, not
Rutgers
supposed to do
players
that.
had any control of their bodies. Certainly horribly coached, but that's
So
a
they're
different
just
thing.
uncoordinated and they don't know what they're doing.
I think that's a pretty good way to describe it.
Wow, that's a really tough way to win basketball.
Well,
games.
they've won 1 in the Big Ten.
Wow.
So
that bad.
Yeah.
Okay. I just saw the score and I was like, good for Nebraska.
Mhm.
They're still very much on the bubble, correct?
very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
They would need to win probably both of their games that lead them into deeper into the Big Ten tournament.
Probably. I don't know. Hard to know how much that matters. There's only one women's
this is a-
bracketologist, and his name is Charlie Cream.
Sorry.
It
I'm
is.
a child.
His name is Cream. Mr. Cream, they're calling him.
Is that's all you do. It's just you find a funny name and you put a Mr. in front of it.
pretty-
It's not even a funny name. He just picks something
Good
and then
bet.
puts
Mr. Beef,
Yeah.
Mr. Vest, Mr. Desk,
No, it's Beef Man.
Beef Man.
Beef fan is different. Yeah.
Beef Man is different.
I'm waiting for Josh to strike out on Wacky Guess Wednesday and be like, all right, we're calling him Beef Man.
oh, good bit.
Oh yeah, just call me up.
Well, you're Beef Man? I've never seen you and Beef Man in the same room.
That's true. I don't know. I guess the mystery lives on. Got any
Who
leads for
is
this
Beef
week,
Man?
Josh?
I was gonna get the Ayatollah.
Of rock and rolla?
No,
Oh. I thought you were gonna get Chris Jericho. If
I
you got
don't, I
the
don't have his number.
if you got the Dalai Lama on the show, that'd be a hell of a get.
that would be a good get. What would you two talk about?
Be like, yeah, have any takes? Dolly, what do you think? You'd be like, I think Bruce Pearl's an idiot.
Well, the Dalai Lama would be a good moral arbiter for like you could just ask him like, hey, is this cool? Is this cool?
Is this cool?
Is this
Oh,
cool?
yeah.
This thing I
Who's
did
the
cool?
bigger jerk, Bryce Harper or Gene Segura?
Yeah, there you go.
Dalai Lama, did you know that Carson Daly was a big deal in the 90s?
Interesting.
By the way, real quick, I was going to bring this up during our show, but I was back in Chicago, and so I was home with a lot of my high school friends who same age as me. I asked them all if they knew if Carson Daly was super popular in the 90s and requests, what is it?
Total Request Live.
Total Request Live or whatever.
it's
if
just
they heard
called
of that.
TRL, but yeah.
And none of them knew. None of them
That
had
makes
any
sense.
idea.
Yeah.
They all just thought, you mean the guy from The Voice? That's what somebody said.
I believe that.
That's
crazy.
what you said.
I know that's what everybody said. Everybody's saying it. That schlub Carson Daly.
And there's a
Lauren
lot of
Michelson
people.
had no idea.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who only know like I was kind of.
The entire Thursday
Some
that I
people only know Trump as the president, but I think of him as the host of that one show, The Apprentice.
20
said you fired.
Some people think of him as the guy from the Home Alone movie.
That's right.
20
Or the backwards when Stuffed Crust came out, he was in the commercial with Dennis Rodman.
That's right.
That might have been my introduction.
yeah.
to
Good one.
Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Full question. Do you remember Donald from Stuffed Crust?
I just
should.
remember him as the host of WrestleMania 4.
Mm-hmm.
WWE Hall of Famer Donald Trump.
That's right.
25% of my family dinner on Thursday was discussing Sean Penn.
That's right. Your mom was disappointed. in
So
you.
mad.
She came to the conclusion that that was a blind spot for you.
I walked in the car and instead of saying, "Oh my God, I'm so happy to see
We
you," blah, blah,
watched
blah.
Mystic River. You should know this.
You know, last time I saw you, you know, you had a completely different show. Like, how's it going? Like, none of that. She goes,
Sean Penn, what's up?
"What's up with that?"
What's up with
You
that?
know,
I didn't know how to explain Sean Penn. to
Neither
him.
did she. She was like, Josh was right. Like, he's political, but an actor, but he's in different things, and now he's old.
His
and-
most successful movie is probably one of his first, like Fast Times at Ridgemont
Yeah.
High. Like he's not that
He was
guy
just a
anymore.
huge pothead.
Yeah,
Somebody told. Apparently, he was in Ukraine when that all went down. That Sean Penn was with Zelensky.
Yeah, he ran boats through New Orleans during Katrina. He
Important
knows El
geopolitical figure.
Chapo.
Oh yeah,
he's
that's
got a
right. He was cool with
very-
El Chapo.
He's got a very Forrest Gump esque.
Sean
Like he's
Penn's-
just a round event.
He's
Yes.
got a lot of range. You know,
There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
was he a kick returner on Alabama's team?
He never returned kicks.
Okay.
I don't think he's much of an athlete, if I had to guess.
I wouldn't think so.
Too many cigarettes.
Oh, I was gonna say. I don't know
That's
that
right.
like, the ability to run 2 blocks exists in those lungs.
No, I don't
He's
think so.
5'8".
It is incredible that all the best athletes that I knew in high school ended up having a cigarette problem.
Really?
Yeah, like
That's Chicago.
literally like the dudes who were awesome at football and were a part of the 2 most winning teams in my high school's history. Like I saw them out of the bar and literally our 6 starters were just chain smoking, and it was incredible.
And you say that city smells like flowers.
Compared to St. Louis, yes.
Wonder what St. Louis best athletes are doing. Not smoking
Maybe
cigs.
they have
Playing on-
flower-smelling cigarettes like those popcorn tomatoes.
Nice.
East St. Louis's players are probably playing in the NFL.
Careful.
East St. Louis.
Yeah, I know about that.
They're playing they're a great high school football team. Why was I being careful?
I just want you to be careful.
You should just be careful. In general, be careful.
That's the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Middays with Matt coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We are back, baby. It's Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Matt McMaster returning from a long weekend, joined, as always, by Josh Odson here on 1620 The Zone. Josh, how are you?
Welcome back. We've missed you.
Did you? I appreciate it.
Of course.
It's very nice of you to say. Great show you guys had on Friday. I was able to tune in for a little bit of it with Austin Jacobson. We want to thank Austin so much for allowing me to go on vacation. We also want to thank John Bishop. What a trooper. Did Blue Jay overtime for us after the Creighton Providence game, which we will talk about later in the show. It is nice to be back. Always nice to go home and see the family, but always great to come back and get rolling here on this awesome radio show that I get to do on this awesome radio station with Josh Odson. So I'm back, baby. It's gonna be a good show, gonna be a good week. We are in the man. Thinking about this over the weekend. This is going to be one of the easier non-football, one of the easier Februaries to August to get through this year. There's just so much going on. I was reminded that the World Cup is going to happen this summer. We had the Olympics where I walked in and my parents were still rewatching Olympic highlights.
Hello.
Okay. There's still the woman who won the American who won the figure skating. They were watching her routine over again. My dad is an old fashioned man with the DVR. He just still has a DVR in the TV that he can go back to and he can go and click and just watch. He was watching the U.S. Canada gold medal game. I was like, this is going to be, out of all of the years we're going to have where we are just anxiously waiting, or at least a person like me is anxiously waiting for football to get back. This is going to be one of the easier ones. And it was proven when we had a awesome weekend of college basketball. Everything was flying all over the place. We had bubble teams get signature wins. We had bubble teams have terrible losses. UCLA, Iowa, what the hell, man? What are you guys doing? I mean, they're less bubble and more. Well, I was less bubble. I was probably a 7 seed. UCLA, they are very much on the bubble. They're a 10 seed right now, according to Bracket Matrix. They lost to Minnesota. We saw Ohio State pick up a massive victory yesterday against Purdue, where Purdue has turned into the preseason number one and kind of morphed into I wonder if they get to the Elite Eight. Wonder if they can make a run. Wonder if they get the right matchups. We had Duke establish their dominance against Virginia. We had Michigan establish their dominance against Illinois. We'll have some thoughts about Illinois, especially because I'm the holder of a plus 1,400 ticket for them to win the national championship. Get far enough so I can cash out, baby. That's what we're hoping for. Make a deep enough run so Vegas thinks they have a shot, and then I can just get the hell out of there, because I don't think Illinois is going to win the national championship. UConn did that thing again where they had an unnecessarily close game against a team that they shouldn't have that close of a game to. That was fun to watch. Florida has reestablished themselves as definitely a contender. I mean, they've already been doing it over the last couple of weeks, but awesome win for them over Arkansas. Gonzaga did it again, where they lost in conference. Now, St. Mary's.
They got their butts kicked.
In the second half, they were outscored by 18 points. So it was a fun weekend of college basketball. We saw Kansas say, hey, look, Darren Peterson, he's playing full games. Yes. And then they lose. And you're like, should he be? Darren Peterson's like, this is what you guys wanted. You wanted me to play full games.
I told you no, but what do I know?
Come on. Here I am. Now we're losing. You're the problem. Maybe I'm the problem. I don't know. But Kansas ends up losing to Arizona. We'll talk about all that. We'll give you the full I love it on Monday. We kind of give you the full rundown of like, all right, here's what the bracket is looking like. Here what the net rankings are looking like. What are some key matchups throughout the week? We're going to have an awesome, I'm a honk for the Big 12. I love the Big 12. I love Big 12 basketball.
I do know this about you, yes.
Hell of a matchup tonight between Iowa State and Arizona. So we'll talk about that as well.
That's a big Monday.
We'll also talk about local basketball here. Nebraska basketball picked up a great road win against USC. Another quad one victory for Nebraska. It's been a good couple of weeks for Nebraska in terms of the net and quad one victories. At one point, they were kind of teetering of only having about 4 Q1 victories. I mean, they were very much kind of on the rope of like, they're kind of losing them. The last 2 weeks, their victories have been improved retroactively by teams performing well. Northwestern getting a big win, elevated them into the top 75, which gave Nebraska another quad one victory. Minnesota has been playing better basketball. They've been elevated to the top 75, giving Nebraska another Q1 victory. And then USC, they are in the top 75. So that win yesterday on Saturday by double digits from Nebraska, also a Q1 victory. So Nebraska now up to 8 Q1 victories on the season. I wonder, I think I should go back and look if that is the most quad one victories they've had since we've been tracking that in one season. 8 quad one victories puts them ahead of teams like Gonzaga, puts them ahead of teams like Houston, puts them ahead of teams like Iowa State, puts them ahead of Alabama and Kansas as well, along with Virginia and Texas Tech. So Nebraska basketball, who kind of after that Purdue game, you were like, they're kind of slacking in this regard. Like they had a great start. They got 6. Now they're down to 5. They've kind of blown a couple of those opportunities, those prime opportunities they had against Illinois, Michigan, and Purdue. Last couple of weeks, been very kind to them, retroactively getting a couple of them, now all the way up to 8. So we'll talk about Nebraska's game against USC. Talk a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about with Nebraska basketball. They're also Sam McEwen. Haven't had him on the program yet, but we will eventually have Sam on the show.
He's ducking us.
No, he's not.
Oh,
he's
sorry.
not ducking us. We will eventually have Sam on. You can only have so many people from the Omaha World Herald.
Busy.
You can only have so many people on the Omaha World Herald on your show, okay? And they have their own shows. So we got to, you get to pick and choose. He also is very busy. He's on so many shows. So anyway, Sam had an awesome tweet. He asked a poll question. Would you rather, Nebraska basketball fans, would you rather beat Iowa to end the season or win the Big Ten tournament? And there was a lot of interesting answers. I'll tell you this right now. The resounding answer was people would rather beat Iowa to end the year than win the Big Ten tournament, which is very interesting to me. And we're going to have a conversation about that because there's part, the tournament is what matters for Nebraska. There also is the part, though, of, hey, winning the Big Ten tournament would be really cool. I mean, to hold that trophy, to cut down those nets, to celebrate that accomplishment, to raise that banner for Nebraska basketball would be one of their biggest accomplishments, full stop, as a basketball program if they were to win the Big Ten tournament. But we're going to go through a history of Big Ten tournament champions because without doing my research, I was like, this whole like Big Ten tournament curse that people allude to and talk about, and the kind of saying, every team that wins the Big Ten tournament, they end up losing early in the NCAA tournament. I was like, is that really the case? Josh?
Oh. I've been called on.
People aren't really wrong, man. Last 5 years hasn't been very kind to the winner of the Big Ten tournament. So we'll talk about all that and more. Are people right? Are people right who voted on Sam's poll that they would rather beat Iowa to end the year as opposed to winning the Big Ten tournament and grabbing more quad one victories? And there's also the thing too of like, does winning the Big Ten tournament really affect seeding all that much? We've kind of found out that last Big Ten tournament game, it doesn't really move the needle all that much. Now, maybe the couple games before that could elevate Nebraska into being a 2 seed. And Nebraska was kind of trending the wrong way, especially after that Purdue loss of falling into that 3 line and maybe even bordering on a 4. Now, they've gotten some help for sure. You know, Virginia losing, Vanderbilt losing, Arkansas losing, Tennessee losing. You know, those 5 seeds haven't really been elevating. Kansas, you know, has lost a couple of games, so they've dropped from being a potential 2 to now they're kind of on the line of being a 3 to 4. And then Nebraska winning the games that they have. They're Nebraska pretty comfortably a 3 right now, but could be, you know, knocking on the door of potentially being a 2. Illinois lost to Michigan State, lost to Wisconsin, lost to Michigan on Friday. They're trending in the wrong direction. Purdue just dropped the game against Ohio State. They're not playing their best basketball. They're on the 3 seed line. Look at a team like Iowa State, right? That's a team. They lost to BYU without Richie Saunders. They lost to Texas Tech without JT Tompin. Now they're going to go ahead and play a very good Arizona team that is clicking at the right level right now. Arizona definitely trying to be that next contender after Duke and Michigan. So Nebraska kind of trending in the right way of being a 2 seed. Does 2 wins in the Big Ten tournament elevate them from being a top 3 to being the last 2? That's something that we have to discuss when we talk about would you rather beat Iowa or win the Big Ten tournament. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the NFL Combine. That came and went, but it was effective. Like we didn't spend. I don't think there was I didn't see as much overreactions from the Combine that I'm used to seeing.
I saw a 300-pounder run a 4.5 40, and that was about all I saw.
Well, I saw Mike Washington, who's like 220 pounds, run a 4.33.
That's good.
And I was like, good Lord. Jeez.
Make yourself some money.
Did you see that awesome video of him like crying on the sidelines?
No.
He was crying on the bench because
it hurts so much to run a 4.3 40.
Do you know how like ridiculous sports is? That a guy like that runs fast and he literally just set himself up for life financially. Like his mom just got a house because he ran a 4.3. I mean, seriously, like I'm kidding. I'm being funny about it, but I'm also not incorrect in saying that. Like he made hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that, which, you know, I think anybody who would tell you that's really a part of that, the Combine isn't everything, you know, and there are definitely some things that we overvalue significantly when we talk about the Combine. And they're, you know, historically you can look at data and say that, hey, these are some numbers there are some numbers that really just don't factor into who is successful or not. There are some numbers that definitely do, kind of your explosiveness, right? What's your vertical? What's your broad jump? If you're looking at running backs, we talked about it, like weighted 40s, right? If I run a 4.3 40 at 195, but then somebody else runs a 4.3 40 at 220 pounds, right? That's a lot more force that's moving, who's, you know, running that 40 at 220 pounds. Teams are more likely to pick the guy who's got 25 extra pounds moving at the same speed, right? So there are things that kind of factor in. We also have now the RAS. You heard about this? The Raw Athletic Score. Josh Odson.
I have heard about this.
So kind of it's a measurement where it combines all of the numbers and it basically scores people based on their total athleticism, which teams very much factor in when they're drafting players. Once again, not the end-all, be-all. One of the best raw athletic scores, though, this year came locally. Cole Payton of Omaha West Side of North Dakota State put on a show at the Combine. We will talk about Cole. We will talk about Emmett Johnson. We'll talk about other things that we saw. Definitely were some studs and superstars. Now, there was some, though, if you've been following, like, these NFL guys they're falling in love with Caden Proctor. And don't get me wrong.
Been there.
It's hard not. The guy was a 5-star for a reason. He's a blue chipper for a reason. You also, if you've, you know, been around here and followed the Caden Proctor story of what he did at Iowa and all that stuff, how he went to Bama, came to Iowa, then left Iowa, might have taken some money on the way out. I'm like, I don't know if I love the guy, but the NFL falling in love with his measurables, falling in love with his times, his measurements, how strong he is. So
already had a trade in the NFL this morning.
Yes, David Montgomery. The Lions got a lot. So they got this guy. I'm going to be real with you. I've never heard of this man. He was drafted in 2023. He was a 2nd-round pick. Juice Scruggs.
His name is Juice.
His name is Juice.
I like that.
Like OJ.
Don't like that.
Like orange juice. Josh,
Yeah.
not Orenthal James Simpson.
Stay away from that one.
Will do. I was going to make another joke. He was drafted in the second round. Now, here's my thing. I don't know if the Houston Texans offensive line is really the line I want to be trading for, trading people from.
You don't want to, yeah.
Yeah, because they weren't very great this year. But the Lions also got a 4th round pick and a 7th round pick. It was interesting. Like, there was an interview. Montgomery had a big game last year, and he did an interview afterwards, and he literally talked about it. He's like, "Yeah, I got to make my opportunities count because I don't get the pill." Like, he just said on a pod, he's like, "I don't get the ball." Like I gotta be efficient. And look, Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best running backs in the game, and when you got a guy like that, I'm sorry, Monty. I love Monty from his time as a Chicago Bear. You're going to give him the ball. You're going to give Gibbs the ball over Montgomery. And Montgomery, who's still incredibly capable, still a good running back, wanted out. I think the Lions got a pretty good price from a 4th round pick and a 7th round pick. Seems like there's going to be some more trades like that with some veterans. It's looking as if Tremaine Edmonds is going to get traded from the Chicago Bears. I think the secondary quarterback market will be very interesting. Does a team make a run at Spencer Rattler? Does a team make a run at Tanner McKee? Does a team make a run at Tyson Bagent? Maybe give a day 2, maybe even day 3 picks for those guys to have them be transition quarterbacks for a year. Maybe just take a shot to see if they can be the long-term dude. Probably not going to happen with any of those guys, but might be worth a shot. Max Crosby, I've been seeing tweets on Twitter that essentially trending in the direction of him being traded from the Oakland Raiders. I think Oakland just needs, Las Vegas just needs to fully press the restart button on that franchise. I think they tried putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound last year. And they were like, all right, we're going to bring in Gino, we're going to bring in Pete, and we're going to cross our fingers and hope this 70-year-old can fix our secondary through his awesome coaching, and that, the guy who doesn't turn the ball over just won't turn the ball over. And what happened? I think Pete kind of proved that, Father Time kind of wins. And it was kind of his time to just be done. And Gino just not himself. There's a lot of bad turnovers, and that team's terrible. And they drafted a running back behind a really, really bad offensive line and got stuffed at the line more than anyone in the league last year. So it seems like I just think that you cannot. You gotta. If we know anything from the Super Bowl champion this year, the Seattle Seahawks, like, how many true superstars, did they have on that team? Jackson Smith and Jigba.
End of list?
Kind of. Yeah, I would say Devon Witherspoon. But I love Devon, but I don't, Devon isn't, from a name recognition standpoint, isn't like a Jalen Ramsey or one of those, we talk about Sauce Gardner more than we talk about a guy like Devon Witherspoon. Should we? Probably not. Devon's a dog. But you need just a lot of, if you're going to win a Super Bowl, you need as many good players as you can. While the Las Vegas Raiders have the number 1 overall draft pick and they have a great player, Max Crosby, they just need dudes. You just need dudes, and you need picks, and you need cap room. And so, even though Crosby's contract isn't awful, you trade a guy like him, you're going to get a lot of picks for him. I still think that the Las Vegas Raiders should trade that number 1 overall draft pick. I don't think they have the infrastructure to support a player of Fernando Mendoza's skill. So that was a trade that happened. We'll see if more trades happen throughout the day. We'll talk more about college basketball. We'll talk about Nebraska basketball. We'll talk about Creighton basketball. Suffered another defeat on Providence. What's the outlook for the future on this Creighton men's basketball team? We'll also touch on, is NASCAR having a moment?
How Bill Simmons of you. I like it.
Josh, they get multiple Michael Jordan interviews on National Fox every damn weekend now.
That guy keeps winning.
And Michael Jordan, what if I told you that 28 years later, Michael Jordan would have another three-peat?
I'd say you're crazy.
I'd say I'm crazy too. But a guy who was a terrible owner in basketball and allowed his franchise just wander and not just mediocrity, just in crap. I mean, the Hornets were terrible. owns a NASCAR team that is absolutely killing the game. Tyler Reddick and the number 45, sponsored and funded by Michael Jordan, held off probably the greatest streetcar racer in NASCAR history, right? Yesterday, just for those who don't know, NASCAR does the ovals, but a couple times a year they do street races where you're not going in a circle. You're going in kind of more like F1 style tracks. And
lefts and rights.
Yes. Well, they made 20 turns yesterday at Coda. And there's one guy, the number 97, Shane Van Gisbergen, who won 5 straight of those street races, right? He's an Australian who specializes in that type of race. That's his race. Nobody beats SVG in street courses. Like, that's a rule. Okay.
That's what they say.
Like, typically the favorite for a NASCAR race is like plus 800. Like plus 600, plus 7, plus 800. That's like your favorite. SVG yesterday in a NASCAR race was plus 125. That's unheard of. And people still bet it because they said, wow, SVG at plus money, that's easy. Tyler Reddick and Michael Jordan's team did what people thought couldn't be done in this era.
Reddick.
They beat SVG in a streetcar race. Absolutely unbelievable. He's in the 77-year history of NASCAR. Nobody's ever won the first 3 races. Not Petty, not Dale Jr., not Jimmy, not Harvick, not Boyd, not any of these guys. Not Martin, none of them. Tyler Reddick and Michael Jordan's team did it. I don't know, man. There's going to be a lot of eyes on their next race in Phoenix because MJ's going to be there. And he said it on broadcast. He goes, "You damn right I'm going to be at this race." NBC had to pay this guy millions and millions of dollars to do a 1-hour interview to cut up a couple of minutes for like 2 months. NASCAR's getting this guy basically for free every single weekend. And they're on the precipice of making some incredible history. And there's fun conspiracy theories. So we'll have a quick little segment about that. The odd news coming up at 11:45, and Robin Washut will join us at 1:20 on this fun show filled of college basketball and football and a little bit of NASCAR and a little bit of everything here on Middays with Matt. Don't forget, if you want to get in on the conversation, 402-951-1620. That's a Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Matt at 1620 The Zone, Josh O at 1620 Zone to talk to us on the Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. We're going to give you a rundown of college basketball. Where's the net rankings? Where are the seeds? Who are teams that we should be looking out for? Who needs to have good weeks? Who can't afford to have a bad week? All that and more on Middays with Matt coming up next.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Kind of getting to the point in the NCAA basketball season where we're kind of thinning the herd a little bit.
We know who's in, we know who's out, we know who's good, we know who's
Yeah,
bad.
I think we know who's good. I think we know who's not going to make a deep run. Auburn.
Oh.
I think we know who could maybe be a surprise. Not a surprise, but like make a decent run of the Sweet 16. Vanderbilt. Depends on what Vanderbilt you get. They're 6-7 in their last 13 games. So they're the Vanderbilt that loses 3 games in a row, or the Vanderbilt that, beats Kentucky. What type of Vanderbilt do we get? Do we get the one that takes Florida to the wire? Or do we get the one that gets blown out by Kentucky? Okay, because they beat Kentucky and they handled them. Then they had that 3-game win streak. Then they beat Mississippi State, they beat Kentucky. They get, their feet back under them. They start moving. Then they start going blah, 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 blah. Back and forth, back and forth. They almost beat Florida, which would have been a hell of a win for Vanderbilt, looking at the fact that Florida is a team that is trending in the right direction and playing some of their better basketball right now. Right. But I think you look at a team like Vandy, right? And you go, okay, I could see them going to the Sweet 16. I could also see them losing in the round of 32. Hell, you can maybe even see what if Vanderbilt played a team like Yale. You can maybe see the 12 being the 5. Like that. I look like Arkansas is another team too. Or I think Arkansas could probably lose in the round of 32 or in the round of 64. I think Arkansas has got the athleticism and the coach can make it to the Sweet 16. Right? Like there's weird teams like that. Then there's okay. I think there's a real cutoff after Alabama. I think if we're teams that can expect to make a deep run or have a legitimate shot to make a deep run, if you're under Bama, I think it's at that point it would be a bit of a surprise. Maybe the only one I would say that I could throw in there and say maybe they're closer to that tier would be St. John's. But do I get the St. John's that out physicals you and dominates you for 40 minutes and makes you feel makes you feel them in the paint with Zuby Ejiofor or Bryce Hopkins? Or do I get the St. John's that misses 20 straight shots against UConn? What St. John's do I get? Do I get the St. John's that when you clog the paint, they have to throw it out to their backcourt? It just can't efficiently hit threes. What St. John's am I getting? But I think right now, solidly, you could say Duke, Michigan, and Arizona are pacing the field right now. And I would even go as far as to say there's Duke and Michigan. There's a little bit of a gap. Like a not a tiny baby gap, right? But probably just the regular gap where you can get some nice hoodies and some decently priced jeans. Like that gap. Not the baby gap. Not the place where Sean Pate shops. Not that gap. But like a gap between Michigan and Duke and then Arizona. And then there's another tier, which includes UConn, Florida, Houston. Yeah, UConn, Florida, and Houston. Then I would probably go another tier. UConn, Florida, Houston, and Iowa State. Then I would go another tier of Illinois. And then, honestly, my next tier would be the Big Ten. If we were doing NCAA tiers, it would literally be, the top of the heap, baby gap, UConn, hey, repeat champions, ? UConn, Florida. Houston didn't win the national championship, but they got there last year. And then it would just be the Big Ten. Illinois, Purdue, Nebraska, Michigan State. It was a fun weekend of college basketball across the country. Like I said, I would drop the terrible game. Right now in bracket matrix, they're a 7 seed. I think I was going to be fine, but you definitely can't. If they lose out, it would get a little weird for them. But I don't think that will happen. But terrible loss still to Penn State. St. Mary's picked up a big win over Gonzaga. They're an 8 seed. That's a very, very needed quad win victory. Obviously because they're in the West Coast Conference, that they're not going to get a ton of love from the committee when it comes to seeding. But in terms of the net ranking loves them. They're 21st in the net. You got a really big win from Ohio State against Purdue. Talk about a team that needed that. I mean, they are very much on the bubble. Very, very much on the bubble. Like, they're either last four in or first four out at this point, Ohio State is. So for them to pick up a Q1A victory against Purdue was monumental for them. Duke flexed their muscles. They kicked the crap out of Virginia. They showed you that they're the best team in the country right now. I mean, it's just they got a wagon currently going. You had a really good win from Nebraska that gives them another Q1 victory. You had Arizona that at home dominated Kansas. Texas Tech, they don't have JT Toppin anymore. He got hurt, unfortunately, one of the better players in the country towards ACL. The Red Raiders doing it by committee. 6 guys in their win against a very good Iowa State team in double digits. Iowa State, they couldn't get it going. I mean, they had 59 minutes from their bench. 3 guys came off the bench. They gave them 59 minutes, or 57 minutes rather. 10 points, right? Their bench combined to go with 3 of 9 from the field. And Taman Lipsey, who is arguably the best player on that team, Joshua Jefferson, also awesome as well. He only had 13 points with 3 of 9 from the field. So Iowa State, there are moments where Iowa State looks like one of the best teams in the country, and they very well have an opportunity to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, especially if they end up winning tonight against Arizona. That'd be a big win for them. At the same time, though, there's the Iowa State where you go, oh, my God, like TJ's got these boys going. Like, this is one of the best teams in the country. Then it's the Iowa State that loses to a BYU without Richie Saunders, and it's the Iowa State that loses to Texas Tech, and it's the Iowa State that goes on the road and loses to TCU, which I still can't stress this enough. Like, you go through the net rankings, and you're like, wow, Michigan's got a quad 2 loss, and Florida's got a quad 2 loss, and Illinois has a quad 2 loss. And, you have all these teams that you would consider to be really good and elite. And Gonzaga has a quad 3 loss. Like, teams that you want to be compared to, and they've all lost quad 2 games or quad 3 games. Like, UConn's lost a quad 3 game, right? And you look at Nebraska, and the fact that they have zeros next to all their Q2, Q3, and Q4 games that they've played this year is such an underrated accomplishment. To play games that you're kind of supposed to win in a way for them, because they've been for a long period of time now in the AP poll for this season. Like, the fact that Nebraska really hasn't had a letdown for a full 40 minutes against a team that they are favored to beat has been quite the accomplishment. And at this point, after beating USC and grabbing another quad 1 victory, they only have opportunities at this point to get quad 1 victories against Iowa and UCLA. We're going to talk a lot about that UCLA game throughout the week, just because UCLA, there was a great stat from Ben Stevens, Big Ten Ben. We should probably have him on the show. I think he'd be a great get for us. He's all in on the Big Ten. UCLA does not lose on West Coast time. They're like 21-3 or something ridiculous like that. Like, they are.
Well, they're undefeated at home, right?
I know, not that they.
Not anymore.
I think they lost 1 game at home this season. I don't think they're undefeated, but like, Ben had and maybe I'll grab. I should. A professional radio host would have that stat rare and ready to go. But
yeah, you're right. 16-1 at home this year.
So when they go ahead and they play teams on West Coast time, like the last 2 seasons, they don't lose. But when they go and play in Central Standard Time, or they go and they play on East Coast time, they're bad. They can't win on the road. So here it is. Great stat from Ben Scott Stevens at Twitter. Awesome follow. Does a great job. I mean, he's just a Big Ten guy. Sick. It's a great slant. Always looking up stats. He goes, in its 2 years in regular season Big Ten games, UCLA is now 21-3 in Pacific time zone, 1-5 in the Central time zone, and 2-6 in the Eastern time zone. 21-3 when they play on the West Coast. They are 3-11 when they go on the road. Crazy stuff. So that'll be a very interesting game to see.
No wonder their coach is a psychopath.
I know. I mean, he gets
crazy.
really pissed, and everyone's like, he's always complaining about the schedule. And you go and you look at that, and you're like,
oh, he knows his team.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. So That's fun. We'll give you a quick rundown of the net rankings. Right now in the net top 50, ACC's got 8 teams. The Big Ten has 10 teams. The Big 12 has 9 teams. And the SEC has 10. Notable stats, though, from this net ranking. Big Ten is kind of spread all over with their 10 teams. The Big 12 has 9 teams in the top 50. 6 of them are in the top 23. Kind of crazy. The very top-heavy conference. And if you look at the Big 10, the Big 12 standings, my goodness, Iowa State, screw you guys. Would have had an opportunity to cash a great future bet I made. But they dropped games to teams who had some of their best players
what
injured.
it's all about. Okay.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Josh Odson.
Well, no, it explains your
anger.
Yeah.
The SEC's got 10 teams, but this is a very interesting stat. So Florida's the 4th team in the net. The next team is 16. So the SEC, I tell people, they're not having a bad year by any stretch of the imagination. You got 10 teams in the top 50. You're probably going to get, 9 to 10 teams in the NCAA tournament. Still, though, to only have their highest team be Florida at 4th in the net ranking is a little strange. Like the fact that Alabama's now starting to find their stride. It was a great win they had over the weekend against Tennessee, and they were an underdog in that game. They were a 4.5-point underdog. That's like last year we went to the NCAA tournament being like, you can probably do the SEC or the field in terms of who's going to win this national championship. This year is a little, I'm not going to say it's like a bad year by any means, but a little weird. Be a great bet I might be willing to make, the Big 12 to win the national championship. I'm going to think about that. Or maybe the ACC. Do you believe in Duke? Do you believe in Michigan? We will find out these next couple of weeks. Do you know what we also find out in the next couple of weeks? What is Nebraska going to do in the NCAA tournament? What's Creighton going to do in the offseason? We talk about that next, coming up on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Barbasol Horizon League Men's Basketball Championship bracket begins today. Wright State, wrong college, is the number 1 seed in the Horizon League. Shout out my people from Ohio. If you know, you know. You know that Wright State was in Ohio?
No, I did not know that. I'll be
so my
honest.
brother went to Dayton, and my mother went to Dayton as well. Go Flyers. I'm not a Dayton fan at all, by the way. I have way too many teams to be associated with that. That's kind of their bit. It's not my bit. But Wright State's in Ohio, and that's what you make fun of people who went to Wright State by saying that. Wright State, wrong college.
This bracket is disgusting.
I hate it. It's too boring.
What? No, look at the second. There's 1 game in the second round.
No, it says the first round.
First of all, there's a play-in game between the 10 and 11 seeds. Then there are.
Why do they wait so long for the what?
Then
what
there are 5 first-round games.
They reseed. What are we doing?
4 of those first 5 game winners advance to the semifinals, and then there's a second round.
Oh, so what? This is crazy. This is absolute. Okay, so you're right. So it looks boring at first, right? Because it just looks like 8 teams.
Yes.
But if you're the second worst seed, first round winner, you play the worst seed first round winner.
Yes.
And you play that game for the opportunity to play the best seed first round winner and the winner of the second round. And then there's a whole other semifinal that if you're the second best first round winner, you just play the third best first round. Jesus Christ. This is stupid.
You could if you're somebody like Wright State, you're a very high seed in the Horizon. You could only have to win 3 games to win your conference tournament.
But it's so, this is why do they do it like this? Also, too, they begin their conference tournament on Monday. Today, March 2nd.
6 o'clock, ESPN Plus, Cleveland State versus Indianapolis.
They play their first game today. Hypothetically, you could be there until next Tuesday. Where is this taking place?
By the way, that's what I was going to bring up. I just saw this. The play-in game tonight is on campus. The first round is on campus sites, and then it moves to Indianapolis
on Sunday.
Yes.
See, that makes sense because I'm like, can the Horizon League really afford 8 days in Indianapolis? That's a long time to be somewhere. 8 days anywhere is too long, unless you're in like Marco Island. That is like the perfect amount.
And Doug Gottlieb.
Oh, yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah, he's the 5 seed. They're playing Purdue Fort Wayne in the 5-6 matchup, 7 o'clock on Wednesday at Green Bay. So
can I be honest with you? I don't give a damn about Doug Gottlieb.
Great take, Matt.
Doug Gottlieb was one of those broadcasters that kind of just went under my feet. You know, like it just. I never listened to enough of him to really have an opinion on him. Like growing up or now.
Watch your wallet.
Why? Why do you say that? Does he?
Allegedly ran some sort of credit card fraud scheme.
Wow. Okay.
In college.
Okay. Wow. All right. Once again, one of those you know how they're just athletes or people that just kind of fly under your radar where you're like, you know, they exist, but you've never done a deep dive on them and you really don't care to. Like
ton of athletes with microphones. I get it.
Like I have no interest in doing it. Doug Gottlieb has always been, I've had zero interest in really figuring. I got too many guys. You got to
go with your gut on this one, man.
I have too many guys that I have stakes in that I care too much about what they say. Like, why was I listening to Gilbert Arenas talk about Chad Baker-Mazara this morning? I don't know, but I mean, he's kind of captivating.
I would like to listen to people talk about.
You know what?
This Chad fella.
I saw this video of Gilbert talking, and it was so funny. It was Gilbert being like, "MF, we're on the bubble." I don't care what he did. We need this guy. Like, I don't care if he hurt your feelings. Like, we're fighting for our life. What's that, R. Kelly? I'm fighting for my life.
Not familiar with that one.
You never seen that meme? Like R. Kelly? Was like, I'm fighting for my life. You never seen that?
No.
It's a good one.
Fighting for my life.
Not.
Oh yeah.
Not
okay,
R. Kelly. He's not a good one. But that quote is a
important
good
distinction.
No, we do not support R. Kelly on this show. We want to get that out there.
Good take.
Thank you.
I could understand people would go, "Oh, a couple of Chicago guys."
No, stop it.
Matt supporting Chicago. No, we're not doing that here.
No one thought that until you brought that up. No one said, "Oh, Matt McMaster's a big R. Kelly guy." Nobody was saying that.
It's thought the Chicago connection.
There's Chicago connections does not supersede terrible things that people do.
Okay.
If Jeff Epstein was from Wicker Park, I'm not going to be like, well, didn't grow up too far away from him. No, stop it. Josh.
You stop.
I'm not stopping. It's my show. Half my name's on it.
That's right.
All right, moving on. You want to talk about Creighton or Nebraska first? You called one of them dead.
Let's get the Creighton of it all over with.
Okay, so they're bad. They're not a good basketball team. It's interesting, though, from this perspective. Not a good basketball team, but still has a lot of basketball skill on it. And I really just think that
there's pieces.
There are. I'm not kidding you when I the disappointing thing about about this season. I mean, there's plenty of disappointing things about this season, but one of the more disappointing things about the season is that Jason Green improved so much from last season to this season, and went from a guy who definitely played a role on last year's team and was important, and had his moments and had his spots where you could see the flashes of him being a potentially really good player. He took a massive jump this year. Against Providence, he had 12 points, 4 of 6 from the field. He hit 2 3-pointers. He had 7 rebounds and 8 assists with 2 blocks. Guys, he's been doing that a lot this season. He's had a lot of those games where he just 10 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists.
Out of position with one arm.
Out of position, playing with a bad shoulder. By the way, a guy too who is really good at basketball but wouldn't be afraid to tell you, yeah, I'm it's been tough for me, He's the type of guy, and I like him a ton. He's the type of guy where you're like, hey, you're the fan favorite. He'd be like, yeah, kind of. I better be. I'm from here, play my butt off every week. And but that's the underrated thing about this season, and a little disappointing is that a player like that, and Jacob Padilla is really good at his job. And I remember I think this was on the Connor Happer show. I don't think it was on Connor Happer and Schaefer. This was on the Connor Happer show. I remember listening to this interview of Padilla saying, we have to do a better job as just fans in general, not Creighton fans, not, basketball fans, just fans in general, as celebrating the little moments and celebrating the little wins and celebrating the things that happen throughout the season that aren't national championships or ranked wins or anything like that. There are reasons to celebrate, and that's why we watch sports. And that's like Jason Green and the jump that he's taken as a basketball player is kind of one of those smaller victories we should celebrate. And unfortunately, because we get so caught up in the wins and the losses and the NCAA tournament berths that we don't acknowledge those things, he has taken such a jump. And I want to use this show to acknowledge the fact that I look at this basketball team and I say, I can't wait to watch Jason Green play basketball next season. And I go ahead and I say, man, we're talking about guys they need to keep and guys they need to retain. That's a guy you put a blank check in front of him and you go, Jace, what do you want? Mm-hmm. Right? Because it's not just the value he brings from what he does on the court, but there's also a value of what he knows. And if we've learned anything from this season is and Mac has admitted this over and over again, it's not easy to come in year one of the system and learn the system, and be an expert in the system. And so there's value in having guys who have been here for longer than a year. And that's what Jason is. So he had a great game against Providence. It was an interesting team because they're not good. They're going to finish the season under 500. They're not in a good conference. The Big East is not good this year. They have, 3 teams that are probably going to get into the NCAA tournament with Nova, UConn, and St. John's. That's a third of what the Big Ten is going to get in. That's a third of what the SEC is going to get in. It's almost a third of what the Big 12 will probably end up getting in. Like it's just, it's one thing to finish the year under 500. It's another thing to do that in a weaker conference. And that's what they've done. But while they're not a good team, I still look at next season and say, hey, you can work with some things here. Like you can work with Jason Green. You can work with Jackson McAndrew coming back healthy. You can work with Hudson Greer. You can Fedor, once again, kind of like what he did last season, doing, kind of did this season, coming into his own at the very end. Now, granted, probably had his worst game as a starter against Providence with no points, 1 rebound, and 14 minutes played. But it's just kind of one of those things where, there are things there. There are pieces there. There are ways to move forward. This season really just came down to what you thought was going to work out in the offseason and what you did in the offseason just didn't pan out. And you didn't really have a backup plan either. They put a lot of trust and a lot of faith that Owen Freeman would be the guy that they paid for, and he wasn't. And there were, other factors that went into that. I mean, the guy spent the whole summer basically not playing because he tore his meniscus, right? That's not an easy injury to come back from, clearly. And, there's factors that were outside of what the product was on the court that played into, injuries is what I'm referring to. Jackson McAndrew getting injured. That's tough. Freeman not having a full offseason. That was tough. Hudson Greer getting hurt in the beginning of the year. What type of player would he be at the end of the year if he didn't have those couple weeks off where it seemed like he was gaining momentum? So there's a lot of things that kind of played into this year, but I think it just boiled down to they needed to fill a hole from last season to this season, and they failed to do that. And their biggest weakness, if your biggest weakness is that you can't guard the paint and you don't have an inside presence, and you add on top of that your perimeter defending just isn't that good, that's a tough thing to battle through. And as we got late, it does not surprise me, by the way, either, that as we got later and later into the Big East season, that they ended up losing more, right? They ended up losing they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. Like, that doesn't shock me, especially when they play these teams a second time, because these teams know, all right, this is how we have to beat Creighton. Like, this is what we have to do to execute. And so, it's one of those years. It's one of those seasons. I still think they have some things to work off of heading into next year. I'm not the authority of, like, what is Mac going to do? I have no clue what Mac is going to do. Don't ask me. I'm not.
Andy Katz was ready to eulogize him during the broadcast.
Yeah, I wasn't able to listen to the broadcast. I mean, full transparency. I just, I had to go. I didn't watch the game live. I had to go back and watch the game. I was on a trolley in North Chicago while the game was going on, so that was fun.
That does sound like more fun than
it was a great time. So much fun. I hope he comes back. I don't think there's anyone who, I don't think there's anyone who's like, oh, he's got to go or he's got to retire or anything like that.
Seems like after a long season that didn't go your way, a long career, that might not be the way you want to go out.
Here's the one thing I do struggle with, though, Josh, is that, okay, let's say he comes back, and this is something that he's got to think about, right? Let's say Mac comes back. He says, okay, this is not the end. I want to end on a high note. Okay, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna coach one more year. There is one factor here, though. That is that he will have to build this team the same way he built last year's team, which means going into the portal, bidding pretty high on some impact players, and then teaching them this system and hoping they get this system right away. And it did not work out for him this season in doing that. And so that is the one worry I have where, if I'm him, I'm looking at it saying, well, why did last year not work? Well, it's because we didn't execute in the portal. The guys that we got didn't play at the level that we thought they were. And clearly they had a tougher time of learning this pretty complicated system. Well, you're gonna have to do the same things over again. Like you're maybe you have to get less guys than maybe the first time because some of the guys you got from last year in the transfer portal will end up staying, but you're going to have to build the team in the same manner. And I definitely do think that I'm speaking on how I would look at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Mac, I would look at this and say, okay, I want to have a better year, but I'm going to have to do the same thing again in terms of how do I build this roster? And it's got to be discouraging that the last time that you attempted this, it failed miserably, right? Now, do I think that Mac can definitely learn from whatever lessons he might have learned through building this roster this season? Of course. Mm-hmm. Do I think he will? Yeah, it's him. The guy's had so much success. I think it'd be stupid to doubt that he, doesn't do a little bit of self-reflection of okay, maybe this is more so the type of guys that I need to acquire in the portal. But I don't,
If he doesn't have the stomach for that, I think that's okay. You can walk away and say, you know what?
That's what I'm saying. I think you put that perfect.
If it's, oh man, K-State's driving hard to the hoop for Alan Huss. Well, I need to step away so that Creighton can have Alan Huss. Don't let that don't let that be the reason that you hang it up.
I think that is kind of I think there are a lot of factors, and also too, there's a part of me that thinks that if Mac really wanted this year to be it, you would have just come out and said,
hey, if you were just going to do one goodbye year, just do the goodbye year. Yeah.
So I think there's always been a part of him that is I want 2 years,
mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I think that's the one, because I'm thinking about this, right? And I think from I'm not everybody. I've asked people. I'll just be frank. I've asked people, hey, what do you closer to the situation than me? Hey, what do you think Mac is going to do? And they've all basically communicated, I don't know. We don't really know. It's been written and published a lot. We don't really know what he's going to do, right?
Your boy Whiskey got macked over the weekend.
That was out of love, by the way. That was completely out of love. Now, if you're not familiar with their relationship, right?
Oh,
you're whoa, what the hell? But Mac did deliver that so cold,
right?
So cold. It was great.
Wouldn't tell you.
Wouldn't know. Well, he also did too. He's like, I appreciate the media. Not you, Walker. Everything you write is crap. He used the S word though. And it's interesting. Mac said, I think the media has been fair. I mean, if I'm being real with you, I don't think Greg McDermott recruited Owen Freeman thinking that he was going to suffer a pretty big injury before he got, to campus, and that he wasn't going to have the build up and lead up that you needed him to have. And obviously it was difficult for Owen to find that stride. It's funny, Mac went and talked about Owen's injury that kept him out, these last couple games. And he said, I thought he was playing his best basketball before he got hurt. And sometimes people just say that, some people hear that and they're like, oh, you're just saying that to say that. I actually totally agree with Mac. I thought Owen Freeman played really well in that St. John's game. He had some really gritty moments, active hands, using his body, being super physical, playing the Owen Freeman people thought he might end up playing especially on the defensive end. And then he got hurt and you're like, what the hell? But I think there are just some things that go over that just happened that Mac can't control McAndrew getting hurt. Mac can't control, Jason Green having to play with one arm the entire year. There are just things that you can't control that happen. And so there's a mixture of this roster was not built properly, but there was also a mixture of things didn't break your way. Just plain and simple. Things did not break your way. So we'll see. I think that, I'm not going to make a prediction or anything of what Mac would do. I mean, Jimmy in the chat goes, Coach Mac deserves a better season. I couldn't agree more. But I do think that was one thought that popped in my head over the weekend, Josh, of I could see Mac, and this is just and this is just from me looking at it logically. I could understand somebody saying, wow, I built this roster a certain way and it didn't work out. And the only way that I'm going to fix it is building that way again. And I could see how that could cause a little discouragement and say, maybe, all right, maybe we need for next season, what's good for the program is we need me to step away and say, we're not going all in for 1 year for one last hurrah. And instead we need someone to come in and be like, hey, we're building for the future because it takes time to build these things. I could see him maybe thinking like that. Right? That's the only thing that kind of popped in my head as to why he
wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. But if Max says, dude, we still have some pieces here. We can go in the portal. I know how to fix it. I know who we need to acquire. I want one last run. I want to make the Final Four. We got Greer, McAndrew, Fedor. We got Jason Green coming back. Conan's going to come back. He's had 1 year under the system. Hey, we got some of these freshmen who are talented. Hey, like if we could go out and plug these couple holes and use, like I could, he could totally do that. I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's go at it. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk about Nebraska basketball, and then at 11:45, let's dive in and do the odd news to begin our lunch. All here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Have you heard about my new favorite rivalry?
Oh,
I love petty people. Like, I love pettiness. I love pettiness, and I also love it when we like call out like people on their BS. All right, like this is like I just like it when we can easily identify people who have ulterior motives to things, and we go, stop it.
yes.
Shut your mouth.
This is good.
And Bruce Pearl clearly has a bias and ulterior motive when he's on TNT and he says Miami of Ohio, if they're going to get into the NCAA tournament, needs to win their conference tournament championship. I wonder why Bruce Pearl, the former coach of Auburn, who's lost 7 out of their last 8 games, would say that Miami of Ohio isn't one of the best 68 teams. Oh, Josh Hodson, do you know who coaches Auburn basketball? You want to take a guess at who does that?
Probably some guy in a cheap suit.
Some guy who has the same last name of Bruce Pearl.
What a coincidence.
What a coincidence. You know, and it's actually not a coincidence at all. It's his son. His son coaches Auburn.
Well,
and Auburn.
We all want the best for our sons, yes?
Yeah, okay. I want the best for our kids too, or, you know, whatever kids I might have in the future, I want the best for them. But if they suck, they suck, okay?
That's part of being a father. Sometimes you have to tell you got to sit your kid down and go, hey, kid,
you
suck.
You suck. And Auburn is firmly on the bubble. Okay. They're currently an 11 seed in bracket matrix. They're only in 63 out of 94 available brackets. And one of the teams that they're going to be fighting against is Miami of Ohio. And I don't know if you know this, Josh Hodson, but Miami of Ohio, they've done this thing where they haven't lost.
Oh, they got a really long win streak going.
Yeah. 29 games of winning and no losses.
How many have they played?
20. They've played 29.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
that's all of them. That's 100%.
You know that, like the saying, like you play to win the game.
I do. Herm Edwards.
Like everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
Except for Chad Baker Mazzara, and they've done that every time. Okay, and so Bruce Pearl says they shouldn't be in the tournament, which immediately I go, then what? You know what? Let's just have the mid-major teams play practice games all season long and then just have a tournament at the end of it. How about we do that? Like, just have them.
Yeah, if their regular season is literally meaningless.
If you literally go an entire year without losing a game and yet you're not allowed to be in the NCAA tournament, then just just practice all year. Like, don't even spend money on hotels or airports. Just scrimmage all season long, and then let's see how you look in the tournament championships. Because that's all. I mean, seriously, how can you go 29-0 and yet we have people who are quote unquote experts on the sport saying you don't deserve to be in? It's ridiculous. Miami of Ohio's AD, David Saylor. I've never heard of David until now. I love him. He tweets this. At Coach Bruce Pearl, you are flat out wrong about Miami of Ohio.
Oh, I love a flat out.
When you say we would finish last in the Big East, the disrespect is awful. And you, by the way, not Y-O-U, you, the letter U.
The letter U.
Yeah, he's laying down.
He's mad.
Oh, he's pissed. And you should not be near a TV studio covering this sport when you show your true colors. Even slipped in a we when talking about Auburn, comma, nice work, exclamation point. Oof.
Nice work.
Nice work.
We've all said that in the parking lot driving around somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Nice work.
How about this? Can you imagine if he ended that tweet with pal?
Oh, it'd be an all-timer.
It'd be bigger than the earthquake that we're apparently going to have in Nebraska.
Yeah. We got an update on that here in a little bit.
Okay. I'm glad. 4.1.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. Jeez.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
You're the basketball guy.
Yeah,
around here. I'm just the schlub that follows the headlines.
You're not Carson Daly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Or is that an insult?
No, you're not.
Either way,
you're not current Carson Daly.
No, I don't think Miami of Ohio is going to go on this generational run.
Neither do
or anything. But
neither do I.
They're an 11 seed on Lenardi's bracketology.
And by the way,
that feels a little low. Yes,
they're there on principle too.
Right.
Like if it were up to Lenardi, he wouldn't put them there either.
Like, I understand a lot of people are out on Lenardi, but like it's ESPN. Like, I just go there because it's easy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like maybe they're like an 8-9.
They have played a very easy schedule.
They have.
Okay, they didn't challenge themselves in the non-con. The MAC is not really that great of a league this year either. Like the haters of Miami of Ohio. I hate it when this happens. The haters kind of have some points. Okay, they have some points. I hate it when the people that you don't like make some good points.
I mean, they're matched up with Louisville in Lenardi's bracket here.
Look, they're probably not going to win.
Yeah.
Okay, just between.
And then Bruce Pearl gets to come on TV and kick his feet up on the desk and go, well.
But what are we, Josh Hodson? If not anything, we are a principle-based show.
That's right.
Okay, we are a principle-based show. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about the principle. Okay. And the principle is a team that literally goes undefeated the entire season should not have to get knocked out by a SEC team that's lost 7 of their last 8 games and that's under 500. Okay. All right. I get it. They beat Florida. 1 win doesn't supersede all your other losses. I hate to break it to you.
The Florida State philosophy from a couple of years ago, they earned the right to get their brains beat in.
Yes. Now
different sports, a little apples to oranges.
I don't want to get into that argument either because it's 4 teams to 68.
Right,
okay.
right.
And I was actually not on the Florida State side. We don't need to open up that can of worms at all. All right. But it is, people said they're like, what else do they need to do? And I agree with them. Like I can't argue with that. You earned your right to get your brakes blown off.
Mm-hmm.
But they have. And it's the principle. Because what is the precedent we set if Miami of Ohio goes undefeated and they don't get in the tournament? Mid-major season's going to matter.
If I was a Miami of Ohio basketball player, I would walk around campus in bubble wrap this week because if one of you gets injured, it's all over.
Great point. But we can't act as if we know who their best. Like, come on. Do you know who the best player in Miami of Ohio is? Does Bruce Pearl know the best player of Miami of Ohio?
It's Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, there you go. Jeremy Lin? Is that who you said?
Yeah, all those NBA guys are coming back to college, right?
All right, let's talk real quick. I had a great tweet over the weekend.
Brag, but okay.
I had a couple great tweets.
Oh.
So this whole thing with Price Sanford and being in the NBA draft, like if you told me 3 months, if you told me in December that he could get drafted, I'd be like, what? What happened? You know? According to ESPN on February 12th, Price Sanford was ranked as the 47th best prospect in this year's upcoming draft. So this was about 3 weeks ago. Since then, he scored 32 at USC, 16 against Maryland, 33 against Penn State, 13 at Iowa, 29 versus Northwestern. He shot 44% from 3 across all those games. Somebody responded to this and said, that's super generous. Realistically, he doesn't get drafted. I'll just say this real quick. Price Sanford and how much he's improved this year, and if we're talking like wins above replacement from a what you thought you'd acquire in the portal standpoint to what you got, he leads the country, right? Like a lot of people are going to say Yaxel Lindenberg is the best transfer portal acquisition this year in the nation. And you're not going to get a whole lot of pushback from me in terms of that regard. He's one of the best, if not the best player on a Michigan team that might end up going 19-1 in a really good Big Ten conference. At the same time, when Michigan acquired and paid that price for Yaxel, what he's providing is what they expected. And what he's providing is what a lot of people expected. When Nebraska acquired and paid the price they paid for Price Sanford, which, by the way, it doesn't take many inside sources to let you know that it's way less than what Lindenberg is making. Maybe internally they thought Price could be this, but at least externally from a national level, we did not expect Price Sanford to have the season that he had. And so in terms of expectations to what became reality, Price Sanford is the most valuable transfer and probably the best transfer portal acquisition in the country. The man is 6'7". He's shooting 41% from 3. He's shooting, you ready for this? We talked about effective field goal percentage. Don't look at field goal percentage, look at effective field goal percentage because it weighs the amount of points that you get based on, whether you're taking 3s or 2s. Do you know what his effective field goal percentage is? It's 62%.
Seems good.
He's 62% effective field goal percentage. I mean, he's shooting. 18 points, 6'7". He's a forward. He's growing. He's still growing. I mean, he could get bigger. He's improved on defense this year. He's shooting the lights out of the 3-point ball. Let me tell you something right now about that USC game that he played over the weekend. It wasn't about his threes that he made against USC. The most impressive thing I saw, the twos he was getting. He had a nice little left-hand runner. He had an acrobatic layup. He had a dunk in the game. He had a turnaround jumper. I think my favorite play he made all game was he got the ball in the corner and this was in the second half. So USC at this point, I think he had the 4-point play before this. So USC, they know, hey, shooter, right? And he takes it and he doesn't even pump fake. He just takes a step right at the baseline. And the defense collapsed, and he's got this beautiful, just two-hand kind of flick the bounce pass right to Frager, right into the paint, laid it up. That's adding layers to your game, right? That's using, your previous performances and the scouting report against the other team to get off that line, use that quick burst, use the baseline, get it to your guy in the paint for a beautiful assist. If Price Sanford starts making these twos, along with just his sharp shooting from the outside, dude, guy's all Big Ten first team. That's just what he is. He's just absolutely lighting the Big Ten on fire. It was a great win for Nebraska. 51 points in the second half. That's the type of offense, that's the type of performance that we saw that from them earlier in the year to go on the road and play a team that is USC, a great team? No. Are they a team that, needed that win to get to an NCAA tournament bid? Yeah, they needed that one, and they didn't get it. They had a lot to play for in that game, and Nebraska shut the door on them. So,
we worried about the starts?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
But I'm less worried about a start on the road against the top 75 team in USC than I am worried about a start at home against Maryland. Now, a lot of that start, though, had to do with Sam being out in foul trouble, which Sam cannot be out in foul trouble. He's the most valuable player. It's between Price and Sam as who's the most valuable player on that roster. How I saw them play without Sam and then how I saw them play with Sam in the second half, I think Sam's the most valuable player on this roster. I think he's the most valuable player. What he brings on both sides of the floor, the continuity he brings on offense, the energy he brings on defense, his improved ability to shoot the 3-point ball, to space the floor. Also, too, Sam had a great layup where he just kind of jump stop, cut to the lane, jump stop, got a nice little left-handed layup. He's strong. Dude's Casanova. And he's built like a brick, what house. It's legit.
I do know what.
It's legit. He's legit. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Big Ten votes, the coaches poll and the media poll and everything like that. How much love does Sam get? Because I think he's a guy that the media might not touch him, but the coaches might elevate him to
right.
I've talked to
the media will go a bunch of Michigan guys for everything.
I don't think he'd mind me saying this. I talked to Sam the year they made the K-State year, Bryson Williams year, Rick Masker, so 2 seasons ago. And so Sam wasn't as good then as he is now. And he told me, he's my goal is to make an all Big Ten conference team. He's that is my goal. My goal is to be an all conference player. And I remember him saying that to me, being whoa, that's pretty lofty, considering that you're coming off the bench, you're not even starting, and you're going to go ahead and be an all conference player in one of the best conferences in the country. That's up there. But he wanted it, and from the coaches poll, he might get it, which would be an incredible accomplishment and one of the best stories that we've seen from this Nebraska athletic program. It's lunchtime, baby. The second best segment in all of Omaha sports radio. Josh Hodson tells us the odd news coming up on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All righty, Josh Odson.
Matt McMaster.
Read us the odd news.
I think I might.
You've had a whole weekend.
That's right.
To think about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I definitely thought about it all weekend.
You've heard about all of the thinking that I've been doing. I've been doing too much thinking recently.
I would agree.
Maybe I need to do less thinking. For Lent, I'll give up thinking.
Good bit.
What are you giving up? Thought. All the thoughts.
Oh, impure thoughts? No,
all
thoughts.
No, just all thoughts. I'm just
pure ones too.
I'm just not. You know what? I'm just not thinking anymore. All right, Josh Johnson.
We go to Little Caesars Arena in Detroit.
Yeah,
that's in Michigan.
You know what? Is that a good arena? I've heard mixed reviews.
I have no idea.
Okay, fair enough.
13 minutes of continuous horn at the Pistons-Cavs game.
Say what now?
Friday night. The game was delayed for 18 minutes in the third quarter by a blaring horn Friday night after a power surge caused the overhead scoreboard to malfunction. You know the horn.
All right, stop.
Just
stop.
18.
We don't need a reenactment of that.
13 minutes straight.
I mean, typically 18 minutes of horn typically gives a man a heart attack.
During a timeout, the Pistons were leading 65-64. Yes,
Sorry.
bang.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. The game did go to overtime, and the Pistons won 122-119. The horn sounded to signal the teams to, hey, get your butts back on the floor. However, it kept blasting despite frantic work from the fine folks at Little Caesars Arena. The team returned to the benches for a few minutes. Then they began warm-ups. After 13 minutes, the staff eventually just said, you know what? Let's turn it off, turn it back on again, see what that does.
It took them 13 minutes to do that?
Yes.
That would have been the very first thing you do.
They shut down the entire overhead scoreboard system.
No way.
The horn stopped, and the crowd erupted with cheers because, of course, they did. That sounds like pure hell.
I got a question. So wait, they were heading into overtime, right?
This was in the third quarter of a game that eventually went to overtime.
Okay. I was going to say, if we were heading into overtime,
mm-hmm.
after a couple minutes, I would have just, all right, time for the parking lot. Like, I'm out of here. Now, heading into the third quarter or in the third quarter? Coming back? Okay.
In minutes in the into the third quarter.
I hear you. Yeah, you probably just go to the concourse and start drinking beers.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably how you handle that.
They resumed the game without use of the main scoreboard. A few moments later, though, the scoreboard did kind of flicker back on, and all was returned to normal at Little Caesars Arena, home of the number 1 seed, Detroit Pistons.
Yeah. I said that Cade Cunningham would be a sleeper MVP candidate to begin the year. They called me a madman. This is what they did. What do we got next?
You might have felt this one if you were in Lincoln, or some people in Omaha felt it as well. A 4.1 magnitude earthquake shook southeast Nebraska yesterday afternoon. I received many texts. Did you just feel that earthquake? And I said, what the hell are you talking about? The quake was centered about 3 miles east of Cowles. Excuse me. I hope I pronounced that right. Connor isn't here to help me. Neither is Schaefer.
And I don't know enough.
Exactly. According to the United States Geological Survey, the earthquake was reported just before 1 p.m. with a depth of around 2 to 3 miles. Officials said the quake traveled at least 86 miles. This local media outlet received calls and emails from people who felt the rumble. Matt, were you in town for that rumble?
No, I was not.
Okay. Just
I thought the rumble took place in Indianapolis, not in.
Well, there's also the very famous Chi-Town rumble.
So do we know, was this an earthquake where was it a strike slip earthquake or was it a reverse fault?
Okay, now you're saying words, and I respect that.
I took
but I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I took a geology course my senior year, and we learned about earthquakes and how they occur. And basically, it's when there are different ways that the plates move that cause earthquakes. So a reverse fault is where You have two plates here. I'll use my hands here.
Okay.
You have two plates, right? And they're connected like this.
Okay.
And this plate, which is my right hand,
top plate,
it goes above.
And
it kind of
it
reverses, right? So the top plate goes above the bottom plate, and that causes an earthquake. Now, there's what we call a strike slip fault, okay? And these are the plates here. And so this is when the plates, they're moving like apart from each other.
Okay.
So the tectonic plates, they move this way, right? This is a reverse. This is a strike slip.
This is good visuals.
I'm curious, was it a strike slip or a reverse, or was it just a regular fault, a normal fault, right? A normal fault is when you have two plates like this. They're just connected, and one of the plates slips down. It just, and it happens that way. I don't know. The fact that this story was prevalent, I'm assuming there aren't a lot of earthquakes in Nebraska.
That is correct.
Yeah.
This would be a pretty high magnitude earthquake for Nebraska. I don't have the information on what kind.
Okay, I would love to know. I bet I would love to be in my geology class right now. I'm sure we would do a whole lesson on what happened.
Now, I don't want to use the power that we have here at 1620 The Zone for anything illicit.
Yeah.
I do know, however, that there are weathermen or people who are friendly with weather people, the meteorologists, that listen to this show, that listen to this station.
Yeah.
If they'd like to get us that answer.
I mean, typically, like, earthquakes are more so to happen on, like, the coast and, like, mountains, like the Himalayas and whatnot. They don't really happen in, like, these are, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert. I'm just, to my knowledge, I don't think it happens a lot. But I would love to know.
Yes.
What type. I loved my geology course. I thought my geology course was awesome. We learned about volcanoes. We learned about earthquakes. We learned about tornadoes. We learned about different types of rock. Is it slate? Is it granite? How do we know? Scratch test, everybody. You got to scratch. I'm just saying, I love geology.
The big rock guy, Matt
I'm
McMaster.
a big rock. I very much enjoyed it. It's one of the things people don't know. I love sociology and I like rocks. It might say a lot about me.
Forgive me, I didn't have you as a rock guy.
Some guys like trains. Some guys like rocks.
Connor likes trains. You like rocks.
I like rocks.
I got to get used to rock guy now.
I rock man. What type of rock is that?
Finally, we end in Florida.
Mr. Rock is what Connor would call me.
That's what he'd call you. I don't. Okay, I didn't know if this was part of.
Say Florida man. Please say Florida man.
It is Florida man.
Let's go.
I didn't know if this was part of a social media trend or.
Okay. I'll tell you. I'll let you know.
Or
I'm on
just
the media.
a jerk.
Oh, I'm typically. That's a great game. Social media or ass.
I'm leaning ass.
Okay, let's please tell us, and we'll come to a verdict.
An ex-con is back on ice after he struck a McDonald's drive-thru worker in the face with a frappe.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but that's a great weapon. Is it a frappe or just a frap?
I believe
or
both
a
are
Frappuccino is
its
government name. Mr. Frappuccino.
Daniel Abramowitz, 29 years young.
Okay.
This is not his first offense.
Oh, he's thrown other frappes at McDonald's.
No,
employees?
he has other.
Or did he throw a slushy at a
convictions.
Burger King? Okay, he's got other. Is it fast food assault convictions?
No.
Is he the fast food bandit?
No, he is not. But since this is not his first offense, him throwing that frozen coffee beverage at the McDonald's employee is now a felony.
Oh, wow. Okay. Jeez.
Abramowitz was behind the wheel of a vehicle in the drive-thru lane around 1 a.m. when he engaged in a brief discussion with the fast food worker. He then threw a blended frozen coffee beverage at the victim. The drink struck the 28-year-old victim in the facial region, causing the beverage container to break open upon impact, where the contents landed on the victim's facial region, hair, and jacket. Why can we not say face? The battery, cops noted, was recorded by a surveillance camera, and the victim was correctly identified as the assailant. He's been charged with violating the terms of his 3-year probation sentence, levied following a 2023 felony conviction for stealing a watch. His criminal history includes obstruction, probation violation, burglary, and assault.
What do we know? Did you ever specifically say why he was just pissed?
Yeah, I don't have the details. A brief discussion caused him to throw the drink at the McDonald's
I feel like
worker.
a frap would probably not be the most ideal thing to throw at somebody.
You want a soda. You want something.
You want a splash radius, right?
Exactly.
You want the splash radius and you want the stickiness.
Mm-hmm.
I want the person to feel that beverage for multiple hours, maybe even days.
You got to work the rest of the day.
In that syrupy mess. Not that I'm encouraging throwing beverages at fast food employees.
Don't do that, especially if you're a felon.
Yes, if you've already committed crimes, I think a pro tip would be don't commit more crimes, right? I mean, that's just my take on it. You know, some people might disagree, just one man's opinion.
It does not appear as though this was part of the social media trend of ordering a milkshake.
I love that you thought that this was a trend. Like, hey, everybody's doing it.
There was. I don't know when that was. Maybe it was like a summer ago, 2 summers ago. I don't know. They did it on The Office.
Everybody knows Gangnam Style and throwing beverages at people and committing misdemeanors that could be upgraded felonies go hand in hand.
Hey, we were rocking to Gangnam Style at Baxter Arena Friday night.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We packed that thing.
Is that guy still touring?
Couldn't possibly be.
Couldn't
I bet
possibly.
he could do a halftime. I bet he could do the halftime circuit.
You know what? He could probably be like a surprise guest at a Super Bowl halftime show. Like we could have opening Gangnam Style.
Masked singer. I bet he would crush it on the
I bet he, but they wouldn't know the range he had.
That's right.
Exactly. Look at that. Okay.
A lot of dates in Korea and Newark, New Jersey.
Do we want to take the show on the road? That's been a bit of ours. Like we should just take the show to random places that has nothing to do with local sports.
Mm-hmm.
Just go into a Psy concert and like broadcasting at like 5 p.m. local.
Yeah, I say let's do it.
Korea time would be insane.
Gets the people going.
It's provocative.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people say. Or do like a show in Australia. What if we went to the one Australia game this year?
Someone has to. Someone has to go cover that.
Someone's got to do it, guys. We'll take a as long as it's paid for by the company. We'll take a trip to Sydney. We'll have a good time. Great job, Josh Hodson.
Thank you, Matt.
You're very welcome. Coming up next, let's talk about the Big Ten tournament. Let's talk about the Big Ten Conference tournament. And should you be afraid if Nebraska wins it? All that and more coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Let's go to the Equitable Bank inbox, where they take banking personally. Equitable Bank, pick it up on the first ring as always. Old man Doug, our guy.
Thank you,
John.
old man Doug.
John emails in.
Hi, John.
Miami belongs in the tournament, but the MAC has 0 Q1 wins and only 1 Q2 win for the entire conference. Not good. John, I agree with you. Matt Schick, formerly of Schick and Nick here.
This very time slot.
On 1620 The Zone. I am the show after that show.
After that show. I mean, that show didn't last as long as like the Connor Happer show, just for example.
Not that anybody's keeping score.
No.
Tweeted out, and I've never met Matt Schick, but I like Matt Schick from what I've seen. Okay.
A kind soul.
I would love to meet him one day. I mean, everybody says great things about him. Tweeted out, like, you know, that meme of that guy like standing up at like what looks like to be a city hall, you know, like meeting, and like is saying things that maybe people would disagree with. You know that meme I'm talking about? The guy in like the brown coat.
Oh, the oil painting of a man standing up who looks like a modern Abraham Lincoln.
And basically, like, he's standing up for something that maybe not everybody believes in, or not everybody has the chutzpah to say. Matt Schick tweets, any college basketball team with that photo. So he tweets that meme and then says, any college basketball team that finishes its regular season undefeated should get an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think you need to put that photo there. You know, like, I don't know. I
think most people would agree with you, even though they don't think that team's going to win very many games, if any, but they earn it.
I totally agree with Matt. If you win every game, you win every game. Ping!
Oh, we're so close.
So close. I promised drunkenly to like 5 different people they could sleep on my couch for the College World Series.
Okay.
I sent out so many invites and made so many promises I cannot keep when it comes to the CWS.
I like that.
And people drunkenly at the time be like, yo, dude, you would do that for me, bro? Like, really? And I'd be like, yeah, dude, you can totally come through. To be real with you, no way I could
house all these people.
Yeah, no way. So I'm just hoping they forgot.
I think they probably will.
I think they probably will too. But that's the hope. Anyway, I think that's a great take from Matt. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more. If you win every game, man. Yeah, you should just get into the tournament. You're A-okay. You're totally fine. Seth emails in.
Hi, Seth.
Poll question. Do you have to sometimes sit your kids down and tell them they suck?
Oh, you do. Let me tell you.
I think that's called good parenting.
Yeah.
Is what I think that's called. I don't think there's any like way around that. If you're sitting down and you're telling your kid all the time how great they are and how correct they are, we're all in agreement. That's probably not the road to success. Now you definitely have to like pick your kids up. You know? Brian texting.
Hi, Brian.
If you win every single game that you play, doesn't that mean you won your conference tournament and get an automatic bye anyway? I think Schick was talking more so about like regular season.
Yeah.
And so that's where I took that, and I agree with that. If you win every regular season game, you know, come on. Aaron goes, my sources. I like earthquakes and read a lot of stuff on them. Don't know if I'm correct for sure, but that could likely be the biggest case. Not really fault lines, I mean. Oh, so this is what Aaron is saying. He sent a lot of texts. He goes, there is no real plates in Nebraska. It's release of pressure, like something made from cracking or something. Earthquakes happen in Nebraska, but very rare. Oh, good to know. I know. I would like to know how this occurred.
I like learning a lot.
I like rocks. So there you go. All right. That was our Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. 429511620. That is the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. Prairie Flower Casino, play longer, win more. Got a sports book over there at Prairie Flower Casino too. You could have been making a lot of money by betting on Tyler Reddick to win all these NASCAR races the last couple of days.
I gotta remember this guy's name.
Tyler Reddick.
Tyler.
Now I will
Reddick.
say we'll talk about Michael Jordan later in the show because it kind of is a big deal now. Tyler Reddick is not going to win at Phoenix this weekend. Mark my words. Here's why.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you exactly why. My roommate, Dan, is going to bet on Tyler Reddick to win the race.
Okay.
And so therefore, Tyler's not going to win.
I follow.
Dan has spent over the last maybe year too much money on betting NASCAR races. I don't think he's won one. So hopefully his mom isn't listening to the show because his mom listens to the show a lot.
Hi, Mom.
Mrs. D, he's okay. He's fine. I'm keeping him. He's all right. But I'm telling you right now, Dan's going to bet on him. He ain't winning.
Damn.
All right?
That's a sucker's bet.
No, I'm telling him. Dan's going to bet on him. So, Mike, MJ, if you're listening, be a great Wacky Guess Wednesday.
No, I think we'd tell people that we had Michael Jordan. I don't think I'd sit on that one.
How good would that be if you booked Michael Jordan for Wacky Guess Wednesday and told nobody? And then you told Connor, and Connor was like, what? It's a good one. It's a good one, man.
You have to tell people.
It's a good. We got to promote that. NBC paid him $80 million for 6 minutes. We're going to get him for free. Or we could play 18 holes against Michael, and if we win, we get a free interview.
Okay, that feels pretty impossible, but
we can figure that out. You're good at booking guests.
I like
good get Josh.
I like the premise.
So, breaking news: Tyler Reddick not going to win NASCAR next week because my roommate's going to bet on him. Did you understand my tweet yesterday that I sent to you?
You sent me a tweet yesterday.
I added you in a tweet.
You did add me in a tweet.
You want to read that tweet?
I would love to.
Now go ahead and read that tweet.
Pull it up. Got to scroll through my tweets today. I've been doing some tweets.
Go ahead. I added you. I tagged you.
You added me.
I said at producer Josh.
Okay.
I want you to read this tweet. I want you to read. I want you to say
yes,
these words.
yes.
Okay, go ahead. Please begin.
We'll see how Commandment does the rest of the way, but it's going to be hard to bet against Irad Ortiz Jr. come Derby time. At producer Josh.
There you go. Did you understand any of that?
Seems like Commandment is the horse we're going to bet because his jockey is good.
Bang! He won the Fountain of Youth over the weekend. Had a really good run.
The old FOY.
Irad Ortiz, he gets everything out of horses. He's incredible. Fantastic jockey. Not like that joke Flavian Pratt. Also, too.
What a hack.
What a hack. Such a hack, Flavian Pratt. I mean, should have
You can quote us on that.
Yeah, he is a hack. His horses run way longer than what they need to. They run such a long race every time because he doesn't know how to control them, but he likes whipping them. Irad is such a good jockey. He had a perfect race over the weekend.
Loves Commandment.
It was Rocky's Balboa was the pace horse in the race.
I don't like that name.
He kind of sat back, found a lane, bursted through it, held a good pace, won it at the wire. Brad Cox, really good trainer. It's a good horse. Commandment and Paladin. Early good horses for the Kentucky Derby. So right there. You know what was another good tweet that I saw over the weekend? It was from Sam. It was Sam McEwen.
Well,
Sam, our friend. Fantastic writer, really good tweeter, Sam McEwen.
Oh, I'm familiar.
Had this tweet. You can only choose one, Husker Hoop fans. Beat Iowa and lose on Friday of the Big Ten tournament. Lose to Iowa, but win at least 2 in the Big Ten tournament. Now, at this point, because of the result yesterday with Purdue, if Nebraska ends up beating UCLA this week, they will have the double bye. They will be one of the top 4 seeds in the Big Ten tournament, which means that winning 2 games would put them in the championship game. Okay?
I like that.
So would you rather go to the Big Ten tournament, go to the finals of the Big Ten tournament, or beat Iowa? Now, here's something to note here. There are some people in the argument saying, you want to beat Iowa and the because it's a quad 1 win at the end of the season. Okay. But, if you win 2 games in the Big Ten tournament, those are 2 quad 1 victories, right? So it's not necessarily about like the Q1 wins here. I think this is more so to do with 2 things. And in the regular season on a high note, the rivalry with Iowa, because, and like this rivalry isn't like, It's not an elite rivalry, but it's building. The Iowa-Nebraska rivalry has been growing the last couple of years. And I think that Iowa fans, especially the petty ones, would love to say, oh, you had your most historic season and we beat you twice. You suck. Ben McCollum owns Fred Hoiberg. Ben McCollum, a way better coach than Fred. It took Ben less than 6 years to get to his first NCAA tournament. You know, Nebraska, they got an Iowa problem. Like that's you don't want that to happen. You don't want to get swept by Iowa because of the rivalry, because of the pettiness. Everybody, I agree. By the way, hand up. I agree. I don't want that to happen either. You also don't want to like end the Big Ten regular season on a loss. I just hate ending regular seasons on losses. It just kind of sucks where it's just like, damn it, and then you move on to the Big Ten tournament. Now, going to the Big Ten tournament final would be that'd be fun. That'd be sick. That'd be awesome. Okay. And there also is the factor of there is this kind of like secret little hidden curse of the Big Ten tournament that's not so secret and not so hidden anymore.
Yeah, you did some research on this, is that right?
And
I don't want to spoil the show.
And a lot of people are like in Sam's comments being like, well, I don't know if I want to win the Big Ten tournament. It seems like a waste. It's not like the teams that win the Big Ten tournament have a ton of success after. I'm going to be real with you, Josh. Like, because, okay, so Joe Bird goes, easy answer. Beat Iowa and get the rest for the NCAA tournament, right? Like, people kind of look at that as like, oh, if you win the Big Ten tournament, you have more games to play. It's not great on your legs. It's a waste of time. You'd rather go deeper in the tournament than win the Big Ten tournament. And by the way, the poll result was 63% would rather beat Iowa than lose to Iowa and then go to the Big Ten tournament championship game. Let's go through the last couple of winners of the Big Ten tournament and what they did in the NCAA tournament. Last year, Michigan went to the Sweet 16. In 2024, Illinois lost in the round of 32. In 2023, Purdue lost in the first round as a 1 seed.
Oh, yeah.
In 2022, Iowa lost in the first round against Richmond. In 2021, Illinois lost in the round of 32. So from 2025 to 2021, the last 5 Big Ten tournament champions, only one of them has gone to the second weekend in the last 5 seasons. You go from 2019 to 2015, it's actually way better. 2019, Michigan went to the Final Four.
That's good.
2018, Michigan went to the final.
Also good.
2017, Michigan went to the Sweet 16.
Michigan, very good.
2016, Michigan State lost in the first round. They were a 2 seed. You remember that game? They lost to Middle Tennessee.
I actually don't, because I just remember Tom Izzo winning basketball games in March.
And then in 2015, Wisconsin went to the final. So 2015 to 2019 don't matter. Final Four final, Sweet 16, round 1 final. Out of the 5 teams that won from 2015 to 2019, 3 of them went to the Final Four. 4 of them went to the second weekend. Only one of them lost before the second weekend. In the last 5 seasons, though, only one team has made it to the second weekend. That was last year's Michigan team. Pretty damn good team. I don't know, man. Kind of a trend. Maybe there's something to be said about having some extra rest. Maybe there's something to be said about, not exuding that much, not exuding that much energy and having that much stakes for multiple games, Maybe it is better to rest your guys. There are other factors that play into it. Whatever it might be. Going to the Big Ten tournament final would be really cool. I just can't like if I'm sitting here and I'm a team like Michigan or Michigan State or Purdue or Wisconsin, where been there, done that. I've been to the Big Ten final. I've won the Big Ten tournament. I've won NCAA tournament games. I've won national championships. I've been to the national championship. I've had success in the last decade. There are plenty of players and teams that I can hearken back to and remember those great successful seasons and pin moments to them and say, hey, that was great. That was fun. Like I maybe I agree with the sentiment of not having to go to the Big Ten tournament final and winning the Big Ten tournament, right? Like I what, like, let's be real here. what does winning a Big Ten tournament really mean to Tom Izzo and his legacy and his career?
Feels pretty cemented there.
Yeah. Like Dusty May, they won it last year. Like he's had that cutting down the nets moment. He's already proven he's one of the best coaches in the country. Very well can end up being the national coach of the year. Right? Like Matt Painter's won the Big Ten tournament. Did any, like kind of done that. They've played in that game. Purdue has been, the last couple of years, last 5 years, they've been the top of the Big Ten. They have been the standard of the Big Ten. I would say it's probably it is more impressive to win the Big Ten regular season than it is for the Big Ten tournament. But my argument is this. I would rather lose to Iowa the final game of the season and let's just say win the Big Ten tournament, because that's not something Nebraska's done. That's not a place that Nebraska has been before. That's not something Nebraska has accomplished before. That would be something where forever we would say, hey, remember the team that won the Big Ten tournament? I understand, like, winning the first NCAA tournament game and getting the monkey off your back is what matters the most, right? I'm not arguing against that. I'm not pushing back against that. But people go like, act like you've been there before, right? We always love to say that. Act like you've been there before. I got a question for you. What if I haven't? What if I haven't? What if I haven't been there before? I'm totally well within my right to act a little bit hyper, to be a little bit exaggerated, to be a little bit more excited than usual, because this isn't something you've accomplished before. And so, if Nebraska had been to Big Ten tournament finals or had won the Big Ten tournament in the past, and that's something that I'd definitely be like, get your rest. Don't play those extra games. Focus on the tournament. You got something, you have the ability to be special in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament. But that's not the case. They haven't won the Big Ten tournament. I think it'd be really cool if they did that. And I think
if they can get another game against one of those top level teams,
I don't think it has too much impact on the resumes. Maybe at that point you've already played 30 games. Yeah, your resume is pretty much cemented. Your
bracket's pretty much set.
There's comes a certain point where Q1 wins just don't have the same effect, because you already built your resume. But I just think, like, I understand what people are saying. The NCAA tournament is the most important thing, and Nebraska's trying to win that first NCAA tournament game, and they have the potential and ability to make a pretty deep run, maybe even go to the second weekend. But I love seeing this team do things that previous iterations of Nebraska basketball haven't done before. And if you're telling me that they get to play in the final of the Big Ten tournament, or they lose to Iowa again, I'm fine. I will lose to Iowa to end the regular season, and I want to see Nebraska win the Big Ten tournament, because that would be really cool and a memory you would never forget. Plain and simple. So, and also too, like, yeah, I guess it's kind of a trend, but just because you win the Big Ten tournament doesn't guarantee that you're going to lose, early. I'm like, I shouldn't be the guy, the Chicago Cubs fan, to like shoo away curses or whatnot, but it's not as if like, oh my God, we're totally gonna lose because we won a tournament. Like that doesn't exist. Comes down to matchups. Comes down to performance within the games.
Guard play.
Comes down to guard play. Right? The basketball gods are not gonna say, oh, Price Sanford is gonna miss all his shots against Merrimack because Nebraska won the Big Ten tournament. Okay. He's just got to go and make those shots. Plain and simple.
Got to watch out for Akron.
All right, let's talk about the NFL Combine. That happened. That came. That went. That was a good time. Todd McShay's already calling people Hall of Famers after they haven't played one down in the NFL. Todd. No, got to disagree, Todd. Hot cup of coffee when it's spilled in your lap could be really painful. That's why I'm going to take the more versatile iced cup of coffee. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Masshole Husker tweets in. It's a great Twitter. Just say who
That's
you are.
his handle.
That's his handle. At Matt McMedia. Nebraska has won a conference tournament before. It's not that big of a deal. Yes, masshole. In 1994, Nebraska won the Big 8 conference tournament. Because everybody...
What a week.
Yeah. They haven't won the Big 10 conference tournament.
Kemper was hopping.
Get out of here.
They
won it 30.
Ball.
Matt, they won it 30 years ago. What are you talking about? Act like you've been there before. No, get out of here. They've been to 2 NCAA tournaments in like 10 years. It's ridiculous. They've never won a game before. They haven't been there before. They really haven't. They really haven't. Winning the Big Ten Conference tournament would be awesome. And the people who would rather beat Iowa and not win the Big Ten Conference tournament because of some alleged curse for Big Ten Conference tournament champions in the NCAA tournament, get out of here. Get out of here. Crazy. Craziness. Stop it. Cut it out. Everybody cut it out.
Penn. They lost to Penn in the tournament. Oh, they had to play Penn at Nassau Coliseum. That's not a very fair bracketing.
I bet the Big Ten referees were terrible in that game. Which I understand. The Big Ten tournament referees are... The Big Ten referees definitely...
Not good. Every time Nebraska plays a game of basketball, I have to hear about it on Twitter.
They're bad. They're bad. They're bad.
They are bad.
They are bad. We're admitting. Thank you.
We're probably laboring the point at this point.
I appreciate you saying it.
Maybe going in, okay, these guys, they suck at officiating. I need to know that as a fan. I need to just sit here and not take the bait. I understand the craziest thing possible is going to happen. They're going to look at a guy going left and say he's going right, and it's going to frustrate me. Maybe you just put the phone down. Maybe
everybody gets screwed by calls in the NCAA tournament. Ask your Creighton fans, your Creighton fan friends, if you will.
A foul away from the Final Four was Creighton.
Connor Happer has a tweet about that game every day.
He thinks about it a lot.
That's way too much. I don't think I've really had that type of sport heartbreak, though, happen to me in that regard.
Oh, consider yourself lucky.
That's the one thing. I've really avoided that true heartbreak. That true, like, damn it,
pain
that I can't stop thinking about. I wasn't alive for Bartman, or I was, but I was 1 year old.
Gross.
I don't remember it. I do have a great picture of me in that seat, putting my hands over the.
Oh, you did the thing?
I did the thing. Yeah.
I'm right there. Moises Alou was yelling at me.
Exactly. Look, Dad. Look at the heartbreak that you'll never get over. Look at me making fun of that. Isn't that so funny?
The more I think about this, why would your dad do that to you?
So the NFL Combine happened over the last week/weekend.
Yeah, it's like a week now. What's up with that?
It's a long time.
We interview them for like 3 days before we make them run around.
Have you been reading the reports about the people killing it in interviews?
I have not. I've purposefully avoided them.
Apparently, Dylan Teneman of Oregon, the safety, he killed it in his interviews.
Was his mother a prostitute?
Whoa! What? Why is that a question?
They asked that guy that one time. Was your mother a prostitute?
Why? Did they have like experience with someone with the same last name at the Rhino?
Well, they were allegedly trying to trigger him and see if he would react, hoping that he would not react. Who was this? It was a wide receiver.
His last name is Bubbles. I only ever met one Bubbles in my life.
Bubbles from The Wire?
Bubbles from Happy Days. That's like the stripper in Happy Days where Richie goes to the club to see Bubbles perform, and then he finds Mr. Cunningham there also watching Bubbles.
It was Des Bryant.
Okay, that makes sense. He would definitely be the guy that would complain about it. Which I would too. Why? No, my mom wasn't a stripper. What are we doing? Or prostitute?
I believe prostitute was the term. Yeah.
No.
Edgy segment.
We are the horniest show on the station. People do forget.
That's what they keep saying.
Okay, I have to solve my browser problem.
Just have them all open, ready to go.
This is ridiculous. I keep forgetting which browsers are which. So anyway, a lot of things happen in the NFL Combine locally. Let me read this from our favorite guy, Todd McShay, who essentially has made a Hall of Fame tier, a potential Hall of Fame tier for players. It includes.
Okay.
I
finally comprehended what you said.
We went from like, oh, we'll see like what this draft is like, to all of a sudden Todd thinks there's 4 guys that are going to Canada.
You can put them in a gold jacket right now,
dude. It's ridiculous.
Right now. I don't care.
Like one of his topics is Hall of Fame prospects versus really good prospects. That's Hall of Fame is all. He's got 4 guys in here. All right, so the 4 guys are Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, Sonny Styles from Ohio State, Caleb Downs from Ohio State, and Arvell Reese from Ohio State.
Titans are getting a Hall of Famer.
Which, by the way, can you imagine if that Ohio State football team that lost in their first game of the college football playoff against Miami ends up having 3 guys in a gold jacket?
Yeah, I have thought about this a lot since the college football playoff ended. Ohio State's really going to want that season back.
Yeah. They're going to have 4 guys taken in the top 10.
Yeah.
They're going to have Styles, Downs, Reese, and Tate are all going in the top 10.
Like 10, 15 years from now, we're going to look back and go, well, how did that happen?
Well, I think they might be probably the best argument maybe for having a bye sucks actually in the college football playoff. Who would have thought that having a 25-day break wouldn't help you?
Goo.
And it's only going to get worse. We're only going to keep doing this thing where we end the season. I think this was another Matt Schick tweet, where he was like, the halfway point of the next year is going to be in like week 11 in November.
Yeah.
That's the halfway point, which is wild. So, but they're never going to fix it because they don't know their ass from their elbows over there at the NCAA. Sorry, call a spade a spade. So relative athletic score. Do you know what this is?
Vaguely. It takes a lot of your combine numbers, smashes them all together, and tells you if you're good or not.
It tells you how I hate to say it, the raw athletic score tells you how athletic you are, but it does, right? I mean, it gets thrown around a lot, and it's almost becoming like gospel. It's not getting to the so you either want to be on the high end of it, but not at the low end of it. Okay, so if you have a RAS of a 9.8. Right, or a 9.9.
That feels really good,
dude. You're like, all right, we can work off of that. Like, we can teach this super athlete, this superhuman, any day of the week. Like, you have a 9.8, teams are immediately like, all right, first 60 picks. Let's just get like there are teams that you just soar up the draft board because it's like, all right, we're gonna figure out what to do with this guy. Now, if you have a low athletic score, right, but some really good, low athletic scores hurt you too, where it's like, he's got really good tape, but man, just the measurables aren't there. Hey, the speed isn't there. The explosion isn't there. The first, the 10-yard split isn't there. And so it's a tool, but it's not the rule is the best way to look at RAS. And it's a very good tool because, now, by the way, it's a subjective. It's pretty it's a subjective analytic, right? You're measuring and balancing certain things, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty good. The reason I bring all this up, in part, is because there was a guy, here's a guy.
That's what I was thinking.
Locally, Cole Payton from Omaha West Side, 9.97 raw athletics.
He was on the freaks list in the athletic,
dude. And there's been so Michael Severe has come on this station and he said, I don't know if he can be a quarterback in the NFL. And he made one of his comps to Taysom Hill. He made a Cole Payton to Taysom Hill comparison, which I found very interesting, right? Because Cole Payton, played quarterback at North Dakota State. But you look at it and you go, well, I don't know if he can play that position in the NFL. This is from RAS Football, which I do want to give a credit to Damon Benning. He quote tweeted this, and this is how I found this tweet.
Thanks, Damon.
Football. Thanks, Damon. Cole Payton is a quarterback prospect in the 2026 draft class. He scored an unofficial 9.97 RAS out of a possible 10. This ranks 4th out of 1,054 quarterbacks from 1987 to 2026. He is one of the most athletic quarterback prospects we have seen in the NFL draft in 40 years. He was not the highest raw athletic score at this combine. It was Arkansas's quarterback, Taylon Green, who scored a 9.99 RAS. Let me tell you something right now. And Taylon Green's another guy where I saw, I saw a tweet about somebody saying this guy should be a wide receiver. This guy, he's 6'6", blazing in the 40s, super athletic. Like, they got to switch this guy's position. And I always harken back to people. I go, there are some guys where maybe you made that claim and you might have been right. But there are also a lot of talks about Lamar Jackson being a wide receiver. Okay. Now, in terms of production and what they accomplished in college, Lamar Jackson far above Taylon Green and Cole Payton. Not a hot take. Just
bold take by you.
But I remember there is this quarterback that came out of Kent State that was too small and really, not good enough to play the position at the NFL level. But man, was he athletic. And he could do a lot of things on the football field. And the New England Patriots drafted him. And there was a very famous call that happened between this guy and the coach at the time of the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick called the phone of Julian Edelman and said, "Hey, I don't know what position you're going to play, but you're a good football player, and we're going to figure it out. We'll see you at camp." Hung up the phone. The guy ended up winning Super Bowl MVP. And it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, you might have guys who are out of position. You might have like a quarterback prospect that, literally can't play the position he's been playing through in college. But man, there are stories of guys transitioning and being effective football players. Taysom Hill is one of those guys. And so I look at a guy like Cole Payton and, good hand size, good weight, 40-yard dash, ran a 4.58, 10-yard split, 1.55, had a 40-inch vertical, had a 10-10 broad. Like, the dude is an athlete. The dude is an athlete. He can do things, right? So that's a guy that is based off we talk about, like, how much money can you make off the combine and what can the combine do for you and what can the combine do for your career. 9.97, one of the greatest marks for a quarterback in the modern era when we're measuring all these things. That young man made himself a lot of money. Gave himself a shot. Here's another guy who made himself a lot of money, Mike Washington. Heading into the draft at the running back position, it looked like Emmett was kind of had the inside track to be the third running back. Seemed like it was going to go Love, then Price, and then Emmett was kind of the guy that everybody was marking. And I think everybody who's been watching Emmett knows that the breakaway speed and the ability to hit the head on the goalpost just wasn't there for him. And what he brings from a pass catching perspective and from a agility and elusiveness perspective, you just can't teach that, right? He is a jack of all trades and is incredibly versatile. And there are a lot of teams that are going to look at Emmett Johnson and think, wow, he can do a lot for us. We want that type of guy. But I think you kind of knew that the combine wasn't going to be great for him, right? And when I mean not like great for him, I mean like in comparison to all of the other running backs. Because what Emmett does, like what you see from Emmett is one of those things where it's like, all right, you watch it on tape, you're like, you can't teach that. And like, that's like, you can't tell me that isn't going to translate in some sort of capacity at the next level, right? There are just things that he can do that You watch the tape and other running backs can't. But let's go to the raw athletic score, the relative athletic score. Mike Washington scored a 10. Scored a perfect 10. The running back out of Arkansas. Guy who was kind of around that range of being in that RB3 conversation. Emmett scored a 5.85 relative athletic score. Emmett was the lowest relative athletic score out of the top running backs at the combine. He was 1.22 lower than Jam Miller. He was a whole 3 points lower than Jadarian Price. And Mike Washington almost doubled his raw athletic score. Look, is what Emmett does best fully dependent on his ability to run fast and his ability to jump high and his explosive? No, it's not. Okay. But it is kind of, it's one of those things where it's like, he went, he trained for the combine, and, he 4.56 is good for him, right? Like, he ran a 4.6 on the first one. Not great, but 4.56 is good for him, and his 10-yard split was fine, but he might have gotten passed up to be a RB3 at the combine by Washington, and we'll see what happens there. And does he end up still being a day 2 draft pick? Before the combine, it looked like he was trending to being a 3rd-round draft pick, maybe early to mid 3rd-round draft pick. That's where a lot of the mocks had him. We'll see where we'll keep an updated eye on it as we continue to see where he might end up. I mean, it's. I'm not saying that he Emmett Johnson's going to get drafted. Emmett Johnson's going to be fine, right? It's just, will it be day 2 or day 3 now? I think that'll be. We'll see how everything pans out after that, and it's just kind of. I think everybody who's been watching Emmett kind of knew that this could potentially be the case, and then it 5.85 isn't ideal, especially when the guy that you're potentially competing for draft positioning with ends up scoring a 10.
10.
It does, by the way, though, make it really impressive what Emmett did at Nebraska this last season, that there were guys who were way more athletic than him but didn't accomplish nearly as much from a production standpoint. Like, I think that is, something to hate. Like, the guy wasn't this 4.3 burner that, explodes out of the gym or anything like that, but still was able to do the things that he did. Pretty impressive stuff. Coming up next, is NASCAR having a moment? Do I do my Bill Simmons impression? We find out coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And he wants to talk a little local ball. Douglas, how you doing, my man?
Hey, very good, very good. Love the show. Love the rundown of the combine and some of the things that are going on there. Really appreciate it, man.
Of course. Thank you. What do you got, Douglas? What do you think?
Well, Cole Payton. I've been a huge fan of his since he was at Omaha West Side, Class A champion, and I want to bag on Scott Frost real quick, who passed on him and picked up Heinrich Garbage.
Oh,
and Heinrich Garbage, I don't know what he's going to do, but anyway, let's go to Cole Payton.
Yeah, why not?
But Cole is a stud, and he is an athlete, just like you stated. I could see him like a Julian Edelman, a Wes Welker for the Patriots.
He's a little
like
bigger.
A slot guy, but he's a little bigger. Yeah, you're right. But he can throw the ball, but he's gonna play. He's gonna earn a paycheck. And he's like a Danny Woodhead in a way, like underrated, but a true NFL prospect. So I'm really excited to see him go forward and make his money. So
yeah, I hope he makes his money too, Douglas. Thank you so much for the call, my man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I brought up the Edelman story not because I was comparing Edelman to they're different humans. they're just different. Edelman's 5'10".
Fact check. That is correct.
Okay, but Edelman's 5'10", 190. Cole is 6'3", 230. I wasn't saying that Cole Payton is going to be Julian Edelman. What I was saying, though, is that we've seen in the past teams look at, former quarterbacks who may not be able to play it at the next level, but look at their athleticism and say, we can find something for you. And this is a stat here. I was able to pick up, God bless it, all these different tabs I have open. All right. This is from Adam Carter, a tweet. The only NFL quarterback since 1999 to weigh more than 200 pounds with a vertical jump higher than 38 inches and a 40 time less than 4.6. There are 5 of them. 5 quarterbacks, more than 200, higher vert than 38, time lesser than 4.6. Those quarterbacks are Michael Vick, Virginia Tech, Robert Griffin III, Anthony Richardson, Dante Culpepper, and Cole Payton.
Whoa.
It's a pretty impressive list that includes multiple first-round picks right there. So and by the way, not saying Cole Payton is a first-round pick. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that the 4 guys I just listed, elite athletes at the quarterback position. Cole's got that.
Someone's going to fall in love with those numbers, obviously.
Cole's got that. And this was a guy that before the combine, if you go and you look at his draft buzz page, he was a guy projected to, 7th round guy, 11th quarterback, right? Can he really play the position at the next level too? You go ahead and if you look up Cole Payton, there's an article from Athlon Sports. Here's the lead into the article. In a quarterback class that is underwhelming after Fernando Mendoza, who's to say that North Dakota State's Cole Payton might not be the second best guy in the group? Woo. All right. Don't get me wrong. I would take Ty Simpson over Cole Payton. Okay. That's Ty Simpson, first 9 games of the season. One of the best quarterbacks in the country is what he looked like. And then he had a pretty, ever since that Oklahoma game and then that Georgia game and the SEC championship, not so pretty. But when you look up at the combines of who were the top winners, you go to sportingnews.com. You go ahead and you look at, hey, who's a winner for the NFL combine? Cole Payton pops up. I'll read this for everybody. It's always nice to see small school and lower level prospects showing up to the combine and matching, if not surpassing their Power 4 peers. Payton stood out as an athlete at the FCS level and continued to look the part in Indianapolis. He ran and it gives him all his numbers. There are questions to answer regarding his level of competition, and as a lefty, there may be additional hesitancy. Payton may have made himself money before the throwing portion of his evening. You know who's a loser on the Sporting News list? Emma Johnson.
Oh, no.
Johnson's game is built around explosiveness within structure and an ability to match his footwork and vision to win battles between the tackles. That left the door open for some minor concerns about ability to hit home runs at the next level. He didn't help himself during the 40-yard dash. Johnson's 4, 5, 6 second 40-yard dash wasn't disastrous, totally correct, but it was the slowest of the group and certainly wasn't ideal when matched with a 202-pound frame. It's reminiscent of Caleb Johnson from last year, whose disappointing combine performance reignited concerns about his big play proclivity. I don't know. I knew, not that I'm saying we knew this would happen, that Emmett would be labeled as a loser of the combine. And I think there was some hope that, hey, he's going, like he's training for the combine. He had months to train for the combine to have this performance. He didn't have a good one. But that's one of those things where it's like, if you watch, this is why I don't buy in. Like, I'm not a 40 guy. I don't buy into the 40. I really don't. I don't freak out about the 40. I do freak out when a guy who's 220 pounds runs a 4.3. I go, okay, that's something that Papa can work with. But I mean, there are guys who have run 4.2s who did nothing in the league. And there are guys who ran 5s who were awesome. Okay. Like it's not the end all be all. But at the same time, there are people who, do buy into some of those numbers. And it's you were hoping that Emmett could kind of avoid that type of article, right? Avoid that type of outlook. And he didn't. He didn't. Do I still think Emmett's going to be really good in the league? Absolutely. Do I think Cole Payton has elevated himself to somebody who, according to Draft Buzz, was a 7th round pick to somebody who was going to get drafted? And people are like, we are going to find a place for him. We're going to figure it out. Guy's 6'3", 236 pounds, that jumps a 40 and runs a 4.5. Who's super explosive with a 10-10 broad jump. Are we going to find are we going to figure something out with that type of athlete? Who's one of the 5 best athletes we've seen at the combine at the quarterback position? Yeah, we're going to figure it out. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. We'll see what happens with NASCAR. We were supposed to talk about it in this segment, but I love this combine talk. Love the combine talk. Love the call from Douglas, 429511620. You want to get in on the conversation as well. Coming up next, NASCAR having a moment. Well, also, there have been some things that have happened around the country while being on the air. We'll do a little bit of a car wash, too, coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, the Young Giant is headed to Omaha this summer. Victory Garden Tour with Cold War Kids and Kenny Hoopla. Monday, August 3rd at the Astro Amphitheater. Listen all week to win Sportsmanlike Conduct for a chance to win your way into the show. More details can be found at 1620thezone.com. Along with support the Open Door Mission and our sister station, Sweet 98.5, by donating TP for their TP Drive this Saturday, March 7, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Family Fair on 108th and Maple. Can't make it to the event. You can drop off your TP donations. So toilet paper.
That's right.
There you go. To our office on 50th and Dodge. Can donate online at sweet985.com. Did you hear about one of the greatest promotional events that's happening in the NBA tonight?
Yes, we discussed it on Friday's show.
Magic City Monday.
That's right.
Luke Cornett, the former power forward for the Vanderbilt Commodores, also a former Chicago Bull and Boston Celtic, is requesting the Atlanta Hawks cancel tonight's Magic City Monday. As he writes, the NBA should desire to protect and esteem women.
So something we found out during the odd news was that this isn't until the 16th of March.
Wow.
For some reason.
Why are they waiting so long?
I don't know why they...
By the way...
Slow rollout.
The cojones to do this during Women's History Month.
Oh, yes.
Is incredible. Incredible.
People forget.
I love how they're like, we're honoring such a cultural staple of our society without posting that it's a strip club. Stay Atlanta. Be you. Just stay you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just be you. Be nobody else. You don't have to be anybody else, Atlanta. Just keep doing you. We get a great email. Speaking about strip clubs, by the way.
Oh, hello.
Tom emails in.
Hi, Tom.
Matt, as young as you are, not knowing certain lovely ladies of the 80s, you've not seen tons of classic movies. Did not know who Sean Penn and Phoebe Cates were, etc. But you know the stripper who was on Happy Days, Bubbles McCall?
Okay. That's a great follow-up question.
A very interesting premise, which raised the age-old dilemma. What would you do if you saw your dad at the strip club? That's freaking amazing. Are you some sort of Happy Days savant? Love the show, Tom in Omaha. I've seen every episode of Happy Days.
Okay.
Every episode. I love it. I love Happy Days.
What about it do you love? Now obviously it was on for a million years and did quite well for itself, but what do you like about it here in 2026?
I love that the creators of the show tried making it the Richie Cunningham show. And then they realized after one season, no. This is about the Fonz.
I think it's this guy over here that people like.
It's about Arthur Fonzarelli. All right. And so then the show kind of pivoted to be more about the Fonz than Richie. And I appreciate the pivot, but I also love that they never put Richie in Richie still mattered, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It was still but they had a little more Fonz in it. I thought it was just a great, Fonz was cool. Richie was cool. Then when they, his Arthur's, cousin, who ends up dating Richie's sister. You know what I'm talking about? That was a great moment, too. The jump in the shark. It's good stuff. When he would walk into the restaurant.
Chachi? Are you talking about Chachi?
Chachi was great.
Did you watch Joni Loves Chachi?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But I do know Joni Loves Chachi from Dodgeball. Great quote.
That's right.
I love Happy Days. I love that when they're Richie and the boys go out to a cabin and they're trying to get with all the girls in the cabin, but they have to sleep outside the cabin and not in the cabin. That's a great episode.
This guy knows ball.
Ralph's. You got to go to Ralph's. Or it's like the episode where Arthur doesn't have anywhere to go for Christmas. And Mr. Cunningham has to convince him hey, you're our family. You can come here for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great episode. Or there you go. I'm gonna stop trying to prove my ball knowledge of Happy Days.
No, you've proved it. Call off the dogs.
Show. Let's talk about something that also was dawned in the 70s and then came to prominence in the 90s and then has resurrected itself in the 2020s, if you will. I think NASCAR's actually having a moment. I think NASCAR's actually having a real moment. Michael Jordan being as excited when his team wins a NASCAR race is almost like when Nikola Jokic talks about his horses. You know, like you talk about basketball and Michael Jordan just seems so disconnected and kind of tired about the conversation and almost as if he's like reluctant to be a part of that story anymore, where he's kind of like, I just done about this being about me. Like I've done basketball. I'm cool with basketball. And then like NBC literally paid him millions of dollars and promoted this thing as if like, oh my God, Michael Jordan is going to give his thoughts on the NBA every single week. And then it just turned into a very lackluster couple-minute interview that they post with Tirico. And at the end of it, you're like, he really provided nothing to this NBC broadcast and low-key did the NBA dirty. Like, that's kind of how I walked away with the whole NBC Michael Jordan thing. Yet, NASCAR is getting MJ every week for free. For free.
I'll go Ryan Russillo on you and tell you that I came away more impressed with Christopher Bell.
You don't even know who Christopher Bell is.
I don't, but I know he finished third.
He had good tires at the end of the race, but he couldn't make it count.
Yeah.
Coda just heats your tires unless you have a great engine, which Tyler Reddick has. He killed it on the straightaway speed.
So why is this guy the F1 version of the guy who wins all the races?
So let me tell you about Tyler Reddick.
Did they have the most money?
Being in the business.
Where's Mr. Hendrick?
Being in the business. The broadcasting business.
Okay.
You can tell when people are kind of just speculating based off of what they see and what they know. And then you could tell when people are saying something to you that sounds like their opinion, but it's really their opinion because they were told this is the case. Okay?
I know somebody on this station that does it that way.
So Kevin Harvick, right?
K-Dog.
Knows what's going on in NASCAR. But he's not going to directly tell you, hey, I have been told that this is the case. But during the Daytona 500, he brought up the fact that Tyler Reddick didn't win a race in 2025 and that the 2311 Toyota team owned by Michael Jordan expects to be in the winner's circle. And that's the expectation for Tyler Reddick. Essentially what Kevin told you during the Daytona 500 was, it is not going to be good for Tyler Reddick if he does not win this year. If Tyler Reddick does not win a race for Michael Jordan in NASCAR this season, there might be some changes at the number 45 car. And he ended up winning the Daytona 500. Then he lost his right fender and had the aerodynamics made no sense, and yet he ended up winning Atlanta. And then he beat the best street car racer probably ever in NASCAR's history yesterday at Coda in a very difficult track. And Michael Jordan is on TV every single, and now people are like, oh my God, Michael Jordan's car is winning all the races in NASCAR. Michael Jordan is a great NASCAR owner. Now you know who Tyler Reddick's name is. Now you know that he came into the season and he didn't really have a really good 2025. And now you're like, wow, could he go for a historic fourth win in a row? I'm not saying that this is appointment television or anything like that, but ESPN is talking about Michael Jordan. ESPN is talking about NASCAR. ESPN is talking about Tyler Reddick. Pat McAfee's going to have it on a show. It's one of those things where it kind of looks bad for the NBA that their greatest player of all time does jack squat for them. He does nothing for them now. He does not bring in new viewers. He barely does interviews. He doesn't want to talk about the sport. He's the only effect that Michael Jordan has really is saying that every player right now can't even compare to Michael Jordan. Right? If anything, you have too many people in sports media covering the NBA who talks about the greatness of Michael Jordan and belittles the current greatness that we see in the NBA. And MJ isn't now bringing viewers or interest to your sport. He's bringing viewers and interest to a completely different sport. Is NASCAR going to become more popular than the NBA? Absolutely not. But is it kind of wild that Michael Jordan can't even be bothered to talk about the National Basketball Association, yet he's running around on racetracks across the country with the biggest smile on his face that you've ever seen, talking about race cars riding to the left? Kind of wild. Like pretty damn wild. Pretty effing interesting to me. And you're going to there are going to be people who don't typically tune in for a second to NASCAR. We're going to tune in for maybe a couple of minutes because, hey, how's Jordan's car running? And if they win a fourth race in a row, my God. The fact that it's even a possibility for Reddick to win 4 in a row and for Jordan to be attached to that is ridiculous. So is NASCAR having a moment? An itsy bitsy one. A tiny little one. Aaron Texkin.
Hi, Aaron.
Michael Jordan going from the best basketball player ever to one of the worst owners and GM of basketball of all time to a very good NASCAR owner is not the career arc I saw coming.
Definitely not. Black Cat says it feels like a moment for Michael Jordan and not for NASCAR.
Okay, but if you're
NASCAR, you'll take that.
You're going to. Oh my God, you take that every day of the week. You don't care who the moment's for.
The viewers were dwindling for
the fact
NASCAR.
The fact that anybody is talking about NASCAR and the fact that anybody is having a conversation about Tyler Reddick in any sort of realm is awesome for that sport. We're talking about a sport that literally you had drivers trying to set up one of their drivers with Sidney Sweeney at a race because of how big it would be at a sport for their sport. Like, NASCAR will take anything that they could possibly get. And so while PC's probably right, it's more of a thing for Michael than it is for NASCAR. The fact that he's representing the brand in any capacity is what you need, is what they're looking for. It's fun. It's interesting. I just think it was worth talking about because the guy won 3 races in a row. Nobody in 77 years of racing has ever done that. Do you know what hasn't happened before? Nebraska basketball has never won an NCAA tournament game. I don't know if people know that. People are aware of that, but we want to talk to somebody who has a lot of knowledge about that. And before we do, we're going to actually talk to someone who wants to talk about Michael Jordan. Walter, have you ever called into the show before, my man?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, okay, my bad. What are you a NASCAR fan?
You know what? I've watched some NASCAR. I think it's pretty cool. I got in it more when Brad Daugherty became one of the overseers of NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Daugherty played for North Carolina, right?
Yeah.
So I started watching a little bit then as a Tar Heel fan, and I've kind of watched it since. But I guess I don't have a problem with it. I think it's really cool to see that an athlete can go from one sport that they've dominated or played with for a long time and diversify themselves into another sport, so all those can come up with a winner. And hey, things are ebb and flow. Like, he didn't do well as a general manager. We know that was horrible. Yeah. That was a flop. I think it is sad that he doesn't do any interviews. I mean, that's very, very disappointing. But he's been a little bit different than Michael Irvin has been, right?
Sure.
Not Michael Irvin, but Magic Johnson.
Sure.
Johnson loves to talk about it. Owns part of the Dodgers. He still loves to talk about the NBA. I think it's just who the guy is, but hey, I don't see anything wrong with diversifying who you are in your portfolio.
$1,000,000%.
My feeling.
$1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Walter. And it's one of those things where it's just a funny story, right? Like, it's just a funny story. It's just funny that MJ, who was a terrible owner in the NBA, who I don't even think people knew he had an interest in race car driving at all in any capacity, is now becoming one of the main characters of this season for NASCAR, and we're talking about it at a national level. It's kind of interesting. Like I said before, never happened before where a NASCAR driver wins the first 3 races of the season. Do you know what's also never happened before? Nebraska basketball winning an NCAA tournament game. We talked to Robin Washut of Husker Online and On3 next. We'll talk about his outlook on the team after their quad 1 victory on the road against USC. All that and more coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Alrighty. Nebraska men's basketball has 8 quad 1 victories this season. It is one of the top marks in the country. It's a resume that is trending towards being a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, and a team that could do something potentially that hasn't been done at Nebraska basketball since 1994, which is to win a Big Ten conference tournament. To talk about it from Husker Online and On3, it's one of the best in the business, Mr. Robin Washut. Robin, how are you, my friend?
Recording in progress.
Doing well. As I mentioned on phone call here, I'm waiting for a Zoom to start here with Fred Hoiberg here from LA. So
I will get you out in three questions. I'll get you out in 3 questions. We'll do 7 minutes and 3 questions.
It's all right. I think I got to about 1:35.
All right.
So we should be okay.
Perfect. A lot of people are talking about the curse of the Big Ten tournament and the fact that the last 5 Big Ten tournament winners, only one of them has made to the second weekend. That was actually last year with Michigan, who made it to the Sweet 16. How big would a Big Ten tournament win be, or a Big Ten tournament championship, in your opinion, be for this program?
Well, I mean, maybe their first one in 30 years, so that would be a start. And then, the momentum to further secure a top 2 seed. I mean, if you're winning the Big Ten title, you're at least a 2 seed, and you're probably pushing to, have a case for a 1 seed and that point. So, that's pretty significant right there. And then let alone just the conference championship implications of it. I mean, that's an achievement this program hasn't had in a long, long time. And so that would be, a pretty substantial, tangible piece of evidence of just how far this thing has come in its own right. And then with the postseason implications, I think it would be a big deal. Now there's the case. It's all right, well, do you really want to play 3 games in 3 days right before you're going to go hit the road for the NCAA tournament? I don't know. I mean, I think that this team has shown that they're holding up pretty well despite pretty grueling back into the schedule from a physicality standpoint. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think the pros would far outweigh the cons in that situation. And you never say, no, we don't want a conference championship, just because of all that comes with that.
I agree more. I don't know. I just saw a poll of people who would rather beat Iowa to end the year and not go to the Big Ten championship game, which I just think is bonkers to me, because it's just that, maybe if you're a Michigan State or a Purdue or a Michigan, you've been there and you've done that. Maybe you do think about the whole 3 games in 3 days. But if you're Nebraska, who, like you said, it's been over 30 years since they won a conference championship, you absolutely take the opportunity to do that. And the pros certainly outweigh the cons, regardless of whether or not you believe in curses. Let's talk about somebody that Nebraska basketball believed in, not just from getting him in the transfer portal last year, but have, as you so beautifully mentioned multiple times in the show, they believed in Price Sanford all the way back to his high school recruitment. Just from your point of view, I mean, a lot of talk is going to be at the end of the season whether or not Price returns to Nebraska next year. Do you think the concern would more so be toward the NBA draft or toward a team, across the country plucking him with NIL money?
Yeah, I don't think he transfers. I don't know if that's really even in the equation right now. I think it's going to come down to if he has a realistic chance to get drafted and get drafted high enough to lure him away from his senior year. I don't know right now how realistic that is, but again, I do expect him to go through the pre-draft process and meet with teams and do workouts, and as you should. I think any player that even has a remote chance of even thinking about getting drafted should go through the process just to get a gauge of where they stand in NBA teams and GMs and scouts' eyes. So even if they decide to come back to school, they have a really good outline of what they need to work on and what they need to do over the next year to further their position as a viable draft pick. So, it's again, you never know if he keeps playing at this rate, especially if he has a successful run in March Madness, then maybe the equation changes a little bit. But that would be a pretty good problem for Nebraska to have, because I think if he vaults himself into that, potential first round territory, that means that he did a lot of good things for Nebraska at the biggest moments. And so it's a fair trade-off, I think, for Nebraska. But I don't expect any. I mean, Nebraska's going to pay him accordingly. It might not be top dollar compared to what other teams can pay him, but the relationship he has at Nebraska with Fred Hoiberg and this team and this community and the way his family loves Nebraska and loves being able to watch him play all the time, like that's a pretty special setup they got going on right now. And, he talked Thursday night at the Husker night at St. Michael Church that the event Sean Callahan puts on, and he was asked straight up, are you coming back? And he's like, well, I'm going to go through the draft process, but it'll be pretty hard for me not to come back next year. So I think what happens is unless something dramatically changes over the next, month or two, as far as the way he's viewed as a draft prospect, then maybe he puts a little more thought into it. But right now I'm leaning towards him being back and would be surprised if he isn't.
Yeah, it's one of those things too, where it's, I cherry picked a little bit because there was an ESPN article that put him as the 47th best prospect on their big board, but you go to CBS and you go to other draft sites, he's not really popping up as much over there. So you're totally right. It'll be a little bit similar to what Casey did, right? Where Casey went through that entire process and worked out individually with teams and then ended up coming back next season. Husker fans definitely hoping the same result happens there. All right, one last question here before I let you go. Robin Washut, Von 3, and Husker Online. Any answer or any opinion on some of the slow starts they've had over the last couple of games? I mean, this has kind of turned from a little bit of a pattern. Now, granted, their second halves have been so good that it hasn't factored all that greatly into the results of the games, how they scored 51 points against USC. But, it's happened a couple times now where this team just comes out a little flat. I mean, is there any concern from you or anything you see in particularly?
Sorry, Seamus is talking on this Zoom right now. So the question basically is,
how concerned are you about some of their recent slow starts?
The slow starts. No, I'm not concerned just because it's been a concern all season long. This is nothing new for them. They've been doing it all year, like North Dakota, New Hampshire, where they just kind of putz around. And then once it's time to figure it out, kind of do or die time, they've figured it out far more often than they haven't. And so, that's kind of, it's frustrating that they can't seem to put two halves of, top level basketball together. But I guess the reassuring thing is that even if they have poor starts, they will flip that switch and get it going with second half adjustments and, just a new energy. And I think a lot of times they wear teams down as the game goes along just because of how well conditioned they are. You saw that against USC. And, I think that they have kind of just adapted the mindset that as poorly as they might start a game, they're never out of it.
Yeah.
They couldn't have started a game any worse than they did against Purdue, and they came a missed free throw at the end of regulation of winning it. So I think that gives them that kind of confidence that as, nerve wracking as it might be for fans, and I'm sure Fred Hoiberg, that, they, as long as the game is somewhat within reach, you never count Nebraska out because of their proven ability to get better as the game as the game continues and make the adjustments necessary to get themselves on track.
Robin Washut, have a good interview. Ask good questions. We'll talk to you soon.
I'll do my best.
Thanks, Rob. Never have to doubt his ability to ask good questions. One of the best in the business. Very mannered. Very dialed.
Sports Writer of the Year.
People forget. Wood Africa 2010 writes in the YouTube chat.
Hi, Wood.
Did I miss your thoughts on the arrival of Danhausen to the WWE? Very nice, very evil. Very happy.
That's what they say about him.
Matt McDanhausen, if you will.
Whoa.
Does he look like he should be wrestling at high school gyms on the independent promotions? You bet your ass he does. Do I think he's hysterical and it's an awesome bit that I enjoy in wrestling? Yes. Did Santino Marella look like Batista? No, he didn't. Was he one of the most over guys on the roster? Yes, he was.
Still working to this day.
Was it a little overdone? The debut? Did they need to post a crate 2 weeks before?
Maybe didn't set him up for success on the front end.
Yeah. Don't let people think that the hottest free agent in all of wrestling, Chris Jericho, could be the one that's walking through the crate and not a guy that not a lot of WWE fans know. Paul didn't really set him up for success there, if we're being honest. I was not one of the people who was booing, by the way, when it occurred.
Okay.
So there you go. Coming up next, we're not going to talk about WWE. We're going to
not.
talk about what we're watching tonight. Spicy one on at 8:00. I'm excited. Can we grunt? Can we grunt together?
Call it something else.
Final segment of the show coming up next.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt. Middays with Matt. Middays with.
It just means more from Clarion Ledger. This human, Clarion Ledger, is part of the USA Today network. Tweets out, Mississippi House passes no tax on NIL money bill, helping Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Ross Dellinger tweets, Mississippi is on a path to waive state income tax on athlete revenue share payments. Arkansas did it as well amid a pressurized recruiting environment within the SEC footprint where Texas, Tennessee, and Florida have no state income tax. Insanity. If I'm a citizen of Mississippi, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I like college football, but are you kidding me that we're a special group of people who just play a child's game is now going to have to pay no state income tax? Really? Really? That's what we're doing?
We need one man to save us, save this sport that we love.
Cody Campbell?
You know, at this point, I don't really care who it is.
Oh, you don't have somebody in mind.
No.
You're just saying one man or woman.
Right. Maybe it's Condi. Maybe it's President T. Maybe it's Josh Pate.
Wow, you're even on. You're willing President T to come in?
Look, man, if he fixes this stupid sport, you know what? I'll shake his hand.
Wow. Whoa. Put it on the board.
I'll shake his hand.
Put it on the board. Wacky Guess Wednesday, you know.
President T. You know, he's doing shows.
He's doing shows. If like they say, if a president asks to come on the show, you say yes.
That's what
Never
Josh
say
Pate
no.
said.
I called him Sean Pate. earlier in the show. Sean Payton was my former roommate in college.
Your roommate was Sean Payton?
No, Sean Pate. And then he moved out after 3 weeks.
Scared of your greatness.
A little bit, yeah. Intimidated. I mean, the guy couldn't get a wink of sleep. All right, what are we watching?
I don't have much, but I like what I have, if that makes sense.
Wow. That is probably like the motto of my life.
We got.
I don't have a lot, but I can use it.
I like what I got. Big Monday on ESPN. Number 1, Duke on the road at NC State, 6 o'clock. It's followed by number 4, Iowa State at number 2, Arizona. Those rankings might have changed in the last 4 hours.
Probably.
Since I did this, so I apologize. Just a 4-game slate in the NBA today. Celtics at Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. 6:30 on NBA TV. It is supposed to be the return of Giannis Antetokounmpo after 5 weeks off. And on Peacock at 9 o'clock, we go out west. Clippers, Warriors, NHL. For some reason, Josh Peterson's Detroit Red Wings are playing right now.
Love it.
In the middle of the damn day on
Yes.
NHL Network. Red Wings Predators in Nashville. I'm assuming this is a canceled game from the Blizzard or something. My Braves are beating the Tigers.
Look who's up to bat for the Tigers.
A guy with glasses.
That's Max Anderson.
There
That's
he
the
is.
former Husker, Max Anderson, second baseman.
Let's see what happens if Pete Wentz.
He's going to strike him out. See ya.
Bang!
Come on.
Sit on it.
Can't be sitting on the high fastball, Max. Jeez.
And then it's Avalanche Rangers at 6 on NHL Network. That's what to watch. Not much, but I like what I like what I got.
Not much, but I like what I got. I like what I got.
Those were two separate points.
I
wasn't an indication of length.
No, I think it was an indication. Everybody knows when you put one finger on one finger, what are we indicating here? Hey, Josh, am I getting hotter or warmer? Hotter or colder? Hotter or colder? Hotter or colder?
Clearly, your fingers are getting closer together. You're getting colder.
Whoa! Nice job, Josh.
I was in the pool.
By the way, for people who cared, which is a lot of our listening audience, Nebraska basketball back in the top 10 in the AP poll.
Number 9. Make sure you tweet it and say the exact same thing the tweet says.
Are we doing that again?
Today, everyone in the Nebraska sphere did, yes.
When are we going to learn, guys? By the way, Sip did it.
Oh, yeah. Over the weekend, I saw this.
He did it. He was the first person to tweet, Owen Chambliss looks the part. Oh,
we asked, what, 2 weeks ago, who would be
the
first
to do
part?
it? We should have went into that bit. We should have really leaned in to that bit. Go ahead. Let's do the Horizon League today. I was reading some. I'm taking somebody else's pick. I was just reading some articles on it.
Sure.
Because there's
You're
not
doing your research.
Well, there's not a lot.
Called.
I don't want to bet on Duke, NC State, and I definitely don't want to bet on the NBA. And I'm not sharp enough in NHL. College basketball is my sport, but I don't want to touch the Iowa State Arizona game because I don't know what happens in the Big 12 anymore. I have no feel of the Big 12. I don't. I love watching the games. I have no feel. Let me go ahead and take University of Indiana University, Indianapolis plus 110. Over Cleveland State in the Horizon League first
name.
round. No, I did research. I read a guy who was like, PC goes, stick with ISU, Matt. Don't quit now. No, I'm quitting. I'm quitting the Cyclones.
I want to get off.
I'm done. I don't want to be on the Otzelberger wagon anymore. I'm hopping off. They dropped to number 6, by the way, in the AP poll. Houston down to number 7. Duke and Arizona, Michigan, and UConn round out your top 4 after UConn's dominant win earlier in the week. Illinois all the way down to 11. Kansas down to 14. Purdue down to 15. They were preseason number 1 to begin the year. That was dog of the day. We forgot to play the
dog.
That was the first time I did it. All right. Great show, everybody. It's a fun Monday show. We talked about everything. College basketball. NASCAR.
Hit it.
Nebraska basketball.
Hit it.
Creighton basketball.
Hit it.
Cole Payton.
Hit it.
Emmett Johnson.
Hit it.
Mike Washington
Hit
Jr.
it.
Carnell Tate.
Hit it.
Sean Penn.
Hit it. Got to do the lock.
Tara Reid. Damn it. I want it.
Hit it, but you're not going to tell your friends about it.
Whoa! Bang! Bang! Who serves up the best bite in town? It's time to settle in the Omaha food fight. We're calling on you to nominate your favorite food spot because the restaurants with the most nominations will battle out in the Omaha food fight bracket presented by Union Bank and Trust. Nominations are open now through March 12th on 1620thezone.com. Great show at Middays with Matt. USC and the crossover coming up next.
Stibbs is a psycho.